That's me. Oh! Boy! But I'm gonna get revenge! Oh, what you fuck? What? No!
Oh my god, I wasn't supposed to break it?
No. Oh no, yeah.
I thought you picked it up. How the hell do you move it?
Oh god.
You don't move it.
Really?
Well, all right, greetings everyone, greetings and welcome. My name is Slayheim, and today we are joined by Ultrapissed.
Hey guys.
Thank you so much for doing this with me. So, for those that don't know you yet, can you just tell us a little bit about like who you are? What's your MMO origin story? We'll touch on the stream stuff as well, but in general, every time I tune in, I always notice you have like so many different outfits and props and everything. It's always a fun watch. It seems like there's always something going on, you know? So very
Yeah.
entertaining.
Well, thank you. Yeah. So MMO origin stories. Yeah. So I guess earliest back I can remember is loving RPGs, right? Like early Final Fantasies, and I went down that whole road, playing single player RPGs. And I guess one day I just kind of learned what the internet is. It just kind of happened one day. You know what I mean? Because there was definitely a point where I was playing games, but the internet just didn't exist to me. And I remember learning what the internet was and playing like StarCraft 1 and doing that thing. And I guess the closest thing to the first MMO I ever played was a text-based, a MUD game called Lensmore. I'm not sure. Are you familiar with Lensmore?
I'm not.
This is a wild one. So it's fully text. There's no visuals at all, but you were effectively in this world with other people and, go north, go south, tell you what you see, and I never got past, level 1 probably, but I would play this game, and thought that was basically as good as it got as far as the amount of people all in one game, because prior to MMOs, and my actual, visual first MMO was EverQuest, but prior to that, it was like 8 people in a lobby or 6 people in a lobby. It was always confined by this lobby. Everything was a lobby. So I was fascinated by the idea of more people able to play at the same time. And I actually learned what EverQuest was from my grandparents. Believe it or not, dude.
Oh,
I went to my grandparents' house for some holiday. No, usually when I went to my grandparents, everyone's there at the living room to greet us in. No one greeted us in. Opened the door, grandfather shuffling straight back to his computer, and he was playing this game on his computer, and where's grandma? Grandma's in the other room playing EverQuest. And they were not gamers. Like, they were
wow.
not gamers. They didn't own any consoles, Super Nintendo, none of that. They were not gamers, but they were both entrenched, just fascinated by this game. And what had happened was, I guess maybe a month prior to us coming there, my aunt and her boyfriend at the time were playing EverQuest, and they got them into it somehow, some way. They got them into it. My grandpa was a nerd. He liked computers, but he wasn't really a gamer, And so they were playing this game, and my grandfather's explaining it to me because he knew I was all over games, and it blew my mind. I was like, I was upset almost. I'm like, you guys have been doing this? And like nobody told me, you know what I mean? Like, you guys are over here playing games and like no one told me. I'm the guy, I'm the game guy. So
Wow.
they told me about what EverQuest was, and they're like, yeah, you got to get it. I didn't have a computer at the time. I only had, maybe a PlayStation 1, maybe. I'm not sure what I had. Didn't have a computer at the time. So uh and then I met another friend. I had some friends and I got them into it because they had computers. So I'm like, you guys should really try this out, right? So my first earliest period with EverQuest was going to my friend's house every day and just watching them play. Because, I mean, I had an account, I had a CD key, but I had no computer. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I got my mom to buy the game. I made an account, but I had no computer. So and who's gonna want to get off and let your friend play his character on your you know what I mean? So it was mostly just watching my friends, and if I got really lucky, it was two brothers and they were both playing. If one of them had to leave or whatever, maybe I could jump on and play a little, but I would just hang out there all day while they played. And then I started going to the Wizards of the Coast store. Like, I kid you not, I was seeking out, I was like a determined child. I was seeking out a computer that could play EverQuest. And so I would go at the mall about, a mile or two from my house. There was a Wizards of the Coast store, and they had the Magic the Gathering tournaments. So I was already familiar with that because I was playing Magic the Gathering already. So they had that and Pokemon and Warhammer, but they also had like a little mini cyber cafe, 6 computers or so. So I would go there, and sometimes I would be there all day. So I knew all the employees there. I was just like this kid. They would send me to go get them Wetzel pretzel or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I was just this kid that was there all day. And I would go there without even having money. Like, I didn't even have money to play, and their computers were stupid expensive, like really expensive. So I would go there and just hang out and essentially be annoying to these adults at their jobs until they're like, just go get on the computer. Like, they knew what I wanted. You know what I mean? And I would just be there talking to them about cards and this and that and that. I would just be there all day. I would skip school. I'd go there all day. I was always at Wizards of the Coast. Finally, my mom got a Circuit City credit card and got me a computer, right? E-machines. So excited, so happy. And it couldn't play EverQuest. I didn't know anything about computers. It couldn't play EverQuest, man. So I was back to the mall. I had this thing. My mom's paying payments on it. It didn't even work for what I needed it to. I don't know if I needed to just update the drivers. Like, I don't know, right? Like, it just didn't work. So eventually I ended up getting a computer and being able to play all this stuff at home. But for a long time, EverQuest was just this thing I had to look at from a distance, Like, I knew nothing about the game, just the very slightest bits. I knew how it worked, but I knew nothing about the game. I thought mages just summoned silly stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know mages had a pet. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just thought from what I read in the manual or like on the back of the box, about what a mage does. Like, that's all I knew, So yeah, for a long time that was EverQuest for me, trying to get to it. And then, I've played every MMO in the book since then, Dark Age of Camelot was a big one. Star Wars Galaxies I really enjoyed. Final Fantasy 11, I went through all of them, but EverQuest always kind of stuck with me as like the one, I don't know how far, how long does this story go?
Oh,
I
man,
could keep going for another hour.
This is amazing, dude. Please, this is amazing. Like, I don't want to interrupt you. This is great. Wow.
Yeah. Okay. So, So I mean, that was really my EverQuest. That and so here, let me give a funny memory for when I finally got on EverQuest. I think at this point Kunark was already out. So like my first, like in the very beginning, I think I made an Ixar, right?
Mhm.
And I wanted to go with my grandpa, my aunt, and my aunt's boyfriend, and I wanted to get to all of them, right? They were like wood elves. Like, I remember my grandpa telling me, like, check out your grandma. And she was like the wood elf, and they're like in like the bikini. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, what is this? Like, we're here for Thanksgiving. Like, what is this? I remember making Ixar and not understanding, like, oh, I'm in a whole nother place. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, where are you guys? I'm outside. And they're like, no, you're at like the other side of the world. Like, you can't play with us from over there. And I was like, oh my God. So I did this whole thing begging for help in OOC, what do I do? How do I get there? What do I do? Finding my way to a boat somehow. Someone helped me, right? I get there and then find out that, oh, you can't go in the town. Okay, hold on. I have to step back because my journey there, I lagged out on the boat. I got lost in the water. I died. Something killed me. I remember screaming bloody murder. Like, something was hitting me. I'm in the water. I don't even know what it was that killed me. I died. I had to get, it was the most difficult. I was like Frodo getting the ring. Like, it was the most difficult journey. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
finally got there. I lost my body. I had to have a necro help me. I was in the wrong zone, so on and so forth forever. Finally, I make it to Freeport and I try to go in the town. and just get smacked by a guard.
Oh
And
man.
I'm back to Cabalist.
Oh my
Like
God.
so
It's
now this will
crazy.
be my third trip there. You know what I mean? And each trip was like a full day session. You know what I mean? So now I have to get there for a third time. And I don't think I ever even tried to go again because at this point now had learned that I'm not welcome there. It's really far away, and the boat might kill you by itself, you know? So I ended up doing my own thing, made a new character, whatever. But that's one of my earliest memories with EverQuest is trying to get that boat across. And just it
Man,
turned out terribly for me.
that's beautiful. Isn't it just crazy how dangerous the world is? And it kind of teaches you through that. Even as a kid, you're like, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't go there. And
Yeah.
as an Ixar, that's fascinating. Ixar, I have a soft spot for Ixar as well. Yeah, Kunark was kind of my entry point as well. I was just thinking, just from the very beginning, for your grandparents, that's amazing, by the way. That's amazing that they would be so far into it. Do you think it was the box art? Because for me, I can't tell you why I really picked it up, but there's just something about that box art, whether that's the marketing or, I mean, just like the art, it evokes this sense of like wonder and exploration, and you're gonna like enter this amazing world, It truly
Oh,
was like
100%.
so special.
100%. And it really was a world to them. Like the way they were describing. And my grandma had never touched a joystick. You know what I mean? Like she was totally not into it. She was like, I can cast like Bark of Nature, like, and she's like, so like, this is me. Like I wasn't sure if I was ever going to get my grandparents back, but the way I saw them that day, it was like, they are in this world. Like they've
Yeah.
entered another world. You know what I mean? And that's kind
That's
of always what I sought after with gaming was like more immersive, more,
mhm.
I was big RPG guy. So it was like, I want to be able to truly play that role further and deeper, so yeah. And the the danger of the world made me just want to play it even more. It's like, dude, this is so real, you know what I mean? Like there's the training wheels are off. Like it's up to me. Like I gotta make this adventure happen. I gotta get there, and that was yeah, it just made me like the game more and more. The more I screwed up, the more I wanted to play.
Yeah, for sure. That's beautiful. Do you remember how far did you get on live before you kind of transition into, other MMOs, or maybe even like how did you get into emulated servers from EverQuest Live?
Yeah. So I was an altaholic as a kid. I could not sit still on one character. As soon as I ran out of the knowledge of where to go or just couldn't solo or something like that, I'd be like, new character. So back in the day, my original like EverQuest account, I probably didn't get anything out of level 20. I just had like a full roster of levels, 3 to, 24, right? Like I had nothing that was very high at all. I would just always make new characters, or new race. I'm going to delete this character who's level 10 and make the same character, but sorry, my cat is trying to steal the last bit of my egg. I just saw his hand come up.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, well, I guess, yeah. Could say that. So I would just make new characters. I played EverQuest for a little while, I think I fell out when around the time Planes of Power came out. So I played from like Kunark right around launch to Planes of Power, and I think I'd quit at some point in between there, maybe to play another game. Dark Age of Camelot, maybe. I'm not sure if that was out yet, but I remember coming back to Planes of Power and being told about the books and being like, wow, amazing. So I can go anywhere I want at level 3 or whatever.
Mhm.
And it kind of turned me off from it. I was like, because again, my experience with the boat and getting there and it being so difficult and begging, pleading people to please just tell me which direction. Do I turn left or right? Like, just please, that's all I want, And
Yeah.
because I didn't know how to like look up maps and stuff. Like I was such a dumb kid. Like I just played. You know what I mean? I didn't Google. I wasn't on Alakazam getting all the info and going and doing it. Like when Q played back in the day, he was like that, right? Like he was I was not. I was just having fun. I just had fun. I still to this day, I hate looking anything up. I just want the game to show me or I figure it out. I don't mind a friend telling me, fine, but I hate
Mhm.
looking things up. It ruins it for me. Even maps.
Wow.
I don't even want to see a map. If I'm lost, that's my fault. because I don't know this area, so I better learn it. You know, that's what I like. You know, so Planes of Power kind of turned me off, and then Dark Age of Camelot was a big one for a while. That was the first one. I think I got someone up to like level 52 or something in Dark Age of Camelot. So that was actually like I actually was, you know, learned how to really grind a character and get them up. Star Wars Galaxies was a big one, mostly just the mystery of it when it first came out. Really enjoyed Final Fantasy 11. And then in between all those, I did like Anarchy Online and probably a dozen others. And then this was all in my childhood, you know, and then stopped playing MMOs for a really long time. Started streaming, and basically how I would treat MMOs between that time. Like, so after I was an adult until now, every couple of years I would get an itch for some sort of MMO, whether that was City of Heroes or EverQuest or Dark Age of Camelot, and I'd kind of go explore and try to find a login, make a new character, run around for a couple of days, and then stop again. So like every couple of years, it would kind of, I'd whatever reason be inspired to play these games, you know, and I would play for a little bit, stop, play for a little bit, stop. And then when I started streaming, it kind of like came into my head like, oh, you know, like these games are fun. Like you should stream one of these games. And I played EverQuest on on a live server on Aerodune was the server I played on. So this was like 5 years ago now, I think. I want to say like 4 or 5 years ago. And I played on Aerodune. I made a druid, had a great time, met some cool people through stream, and we're just, you know, we had like a little trio going and we would play every day. And then I started to realize that server was not how I remembered EverQuest. You know, like all the gate spells were all sold at one place. That's what I remember. I was like, what do you mean? Like, I don't go have to travel around and find all the spells? You know, like, so they're just all here for me. And they're like, yeah, and also here's a dozen other quality of life things. And I was like, you know, I wasn't into it, right? So I fell off of Aerodune. I got to like maybe level 40 or level 50. And people had been telling me while I was streaming Aerodune, you should play P99, you should play P99, you should play P99. And I was just kind of like, like, I already got a character, dude. Like, why? But then when I realized all the differences between, or at least realized all the things I didn't like about Aerodune and live, stepped away again for a little bit. I said, you know what? I'll give it a try. And the rest is history, dude. I've been playing P99 since then. So that's like I want to say it's been 5 years now. We're in 2026. It's got to have been 5 years now. Pretty consistently. You know, I've been doing like a Friday night EverQuest thing for forever, man. You know, forever. I used to dress up in like a pink tracksuit and put a wig on, and I would be retro Randy, and I'd dance and just, you know, I'd drink and dance because I watched all the. What it was I used to play like Valorant and like more like action games, and I had viewers from that. So I was like, how can I make them want to watch EverQuest? Like, how can I make these people I already have want to watch EverQuest? Like, oh, I could play like as a character. So then it's like you're watching the character instead of just the game. And that became a whole thing, you know, like I met a lot of people doing that, you know, silliness. And
it's amazing, man. I gotta say, just it's fun because like one of the things I was gonna ask you is like, you know, this game, and I can see that now, but you know, it's like these are things that people find tedious, let's say, or it's, you know, it's a boomer MMO, or why would you play it? But you find such a way to make it entertaining. Like I've never seen that kind of energy, because you know, a lot of people think EverQuest is boring. It's just very grindy. It's like only, but every time I come in, there's always something fun going on. There's props, there's outfits. Like it's a really interesting energy. It's very cool that you can kind of blend all that together. But sorry to interrupt you. Please continue.
Not at all. Yeah. I mean, so I used to do that every Friday for forever. I would do Retro Randy Friday nights, and I set up a green screen. I'd dance around or like interact with, you know, like I'd walk up to a big troll and then I'd like, you know, put that on the green screen. I'd be in front of him dancing with the troll, or like, you know, whatever I could think of in the moment, you know what I mean? Whatever silliness. And had a really good time with that. And it was like, what blew my mind with EverQuest was that, you know, the community there, particularly on Twitch, was just unreal. It was like, this is crazy. You know what I mean? Where I was streaming to 2 people, maybe 3 if I was lucky. I'd pop on EverQuest and there's all these people that want to talk about EverQuest. I'm like, where are you all, like, how did you all come out of the, you know, like, what's going on? Like, where'd you all come from? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was crazy to me. And there was a bunch of streamers, and there were like some really popular, you know, like partnered streamers and people that all they did was play EverQuest. And I was like, whoa, this is like it was like I had entered this weird, like underwater, you know, secret headquarters of like EverQuest nerds. You know what I mean? That were just
That's
like, we're
exactly
all
how
like,
I feel.
we're in this bubble. Yeah. Like, whoa, like I walked in, I'm like, holy crap, you know, like
Yeah.
there's so many people here. Like you're all just playing this classic emulated server. And, you know, obviously people play all sorts of servers, right? Then and now.
Yeah.
But just the amount of people that played EverQuest and really enjoyed it was like, man. And, you know, I viewed it so fondly. So, I fit right in.
That's amazing, man. Can I just say, I've kind of dabbled in streaming a little bit. I'm more of a YouTube guy, but every single time I've tried to, like, it's the biggest thing I've ever done is like EverQuest. Statistically, it's amazing that there's such a love for this game. Like, it really blows my mind.
Isn't it?
And I mean, like, unlike you, I kind of forgot about EverQuest for a while. I moved on to other games and whatnot, but my real life best friend, he told me about Project 1999, and that's kind of how I got sucked back in. I mean, this was like 2012, but I would just check in periodically. I really love that classic experience, and I like how Norath is kind of preserved as like the Norath that we remember, and we can always return to it anytime. But I'm currently playing Quorm, and I'm really enjoying that. And yeah, wow, no, that's great. We covered a lot. Wow. I wanted to ask you, why what do you chase in MMOs now? Like, what are you looking for? Why do you play these games that some people would consider tedious? You know, is it challenge, community? You know, are you a PvP guy, nostalgia, maybe a little bit of all of that? Because, you know, you can play anything you want to, right? I mean, you're a established streamer. There's all these other games. You love JRPGs. That's another thing I'd love to touch on if you have more time. But what do you chase in MMOs specifically? I'm assuming Monsters and Memories is going to be like your main game once that's released. Is that safe to assume? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, you can say that very confidently, yeah.
Awesome.
I already know that's what it's going to be. I already know that. I'm gonna have to fight to not just play M&M. You know what I mean? Like, the only thing that will guarantee pull me out is D&D, because I've got people relying on me to be there. You know what I mean? So the D&D is like the one thing, and I'm like, I just need to be able to squeeze out one more day to do one other thing, so I'm not just only playing for whatever reason in my head. I want the variety, you know, I want the spice of playing different stuff, you know, but it's calling to me, man. Yeah. M&M is it's going to be big for me for sure. And then I guess to answer the original question, I really just enjoy, like, I mean, this is like cliche, but like I'm very big on journey and not destination. So like I really, one, for me, EverQuest is so great because I love to have this thing I can get on and be like, what am I going to do today with this? Like what am I going to get up to? Like, let me go look, like, do I have some notes? Like, oh, is there some gear? Like, oh, like I would need I got to find a friend if we're going to go get this gear. Or just that it's completely sandbox, you know, something I can log into. I have my own economy, things I've earned, things I've found, characters I've kitted, and it's completely up to me. It's not like the next thing you do is this, you know, there's no next thing, right? There's nothing. It's just whatever you want, dude, you know, like go do whatever you want. You know, we're, you know, the game itself is entirely hands off, which I really like. And I just enjoy going and doing it, man. Like I used to do, I would lock the number in a group. So I would do EverQuest trios. So because what always happens when you're streaming is more people want to join and more people want to join. And then someone wants to come play Druid from outside the group and buff everyone. And then you got someone else who's pulling for you. You know what I mean? It just becomes, you're not really the game. You know what I mean? You're just getting power leveled at some point. You know what I mean? So I would lock it in at 3 people. No one could come help, no outside buffs. And we'd just be like, how deep can we crawl down this dungeon? Like, how far can I go into the hole with a bard? You know, like it would intentionally, like I would nerf the groups with like classes too. Like it wouldn't be like cleric, enchanter, whatever, right? It would be like bard, necromancer, and warrior or something. You know what I mean? Like no healer, whatever the weirdest combination of 3 classes I could find, that's what we do. And I really just enjoyed trying to figure out how to solve problems on your own. Whether that is like, how are we going to get this gear, or how are we going to pull this room without wiping here, or how are we going to get back to our bodies now that we've pulled this room and failed? You know what I mean? Like all of those kind of, how are we going to figure it out with limited resources? That's like that's where I'm at my most fun, like just doing that stuff, and I just kind of seek it out. I mean, that's you just kind of got to go out there and do stuff, and then you find all these fun moments. You know what I mean? So it's like just find something to do, find a reason to do it, go do it, and that's what I really enjoy. I don't care about having a level 60. I don't care about having a XYZ. I just love playing, man. That's my whole thing. Yeah, and I plan to do that with M&M too. Mix up classes. You know, what do you do with only a necro healer, or like Q loves to do the oops all thing, right? He loves to do, what if you have 6 of this class, and what's going to happen? The answer is you're going to kick ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Usually,
Man,
right?
I gotta say, yeah, the classes in EverQuest to this day are just amazing to me. They really nailed it. They nailed how the classes like act and feel. Like even like you said, sorry to keep circling back to this, but like your grandma was like fascinated by the druid and those type of buffs and stuff. It just feels, like to this day, nothing has ever done the classes to the extent that EverQuest has. But then again, my perspective's kind of limited. I didn't play all these other MMOs. My baseline is always EverQuest. Do you have a favorite class? Is there anything that you usually gravitate to when you play these kind of games? Are you a tank? Are you like a support class? Like, what do you usually like to play?
My favorite class is a wizard. My favorite class is definitely a wizard, which is one of the not so great classes in P99 at least. But I love the wizard, man. In all games, I love the idea of a glass cannon. You know what I mean? Just the guy that's no one's doing more damage than me, but that's all I do, right? Like my utility is just blow him up. Like, oh, you need him rooted? Well, I'll kill him. Oh, we pulled too many? Well, I'll kill one. There's nothing else I do. That I love that. Yeah. That's my favorite. But I mean, man, the monk is pretty darn cool, man. The monk is pretty darn cool. Right now, my 2 level 60s are a monk and a wizard. Oh, cool. And the monk is pretty dang cool, but
very cool.
I think I got to stick with my wizard roots, but that is neck and neck there between the two, I think. How about you?
You know what? I like rogues specifically. I'm really interested in the rogue class, but I also like pet classes sometimes too. I dabble, but if I had to pick, I think rogue. It's kind of similar to the wizard in a way that it just does like really hard, fast damage, and that's something I've always been attracted to as well. That's what I played in live back in the day. But the necromancer class is also really interesting too. I like everything that they can do. They can solo, they can do whatever. Thematically, it might not be like the best, but I just really respect it as a class,
Yeah, necros and enchanters are so cool too. Like I love playing both of those classes. They're so cool,
Yeah.
But
awesome.
It's that character identity, I think, is what it's not about like which one has the coolest, or at least for me, it's usually not about like which one is the most optimal or can do the most, but it's like which one do I kind of see myself not being like I'm actually a wizard, right? But like which one do I fit into the most? Like which kind of style seems cool for me? And like you were like, like what you were saying with the characters or the classes and how EQ did it so well. It's just the character identity is unmatched. If it's like in real life, if you're a leather worker and someone needs a belt, it's like, I can get you that, and in most MMOs, they get it on the trade skills side of things, but in EverQuest, it's the actual gameplay side of it, where it's like, I have the spell that can get you through that door to the next set of mobs, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then you didn't even know that spell existed, right? But they play this class and they tell you about it, or, I can... I'm a cleric. I have a passive bracer. I can get you in here, or whatever it might be. And that character identity, man, it's
really,
so cool.
I really like the idea in those games. Like a lot of people think this is like an older sort of less evolved thing, but now in modern games it seems like every class can do everything, and you can like respec yourself, and you can kind of heal yourself a little bit, and you can also tank or whatever. But I like in EverQuest how, some classes are really good at doing some things, but they're not good at doing other things. That's why it's kind of like, hey, you're really good at doing this, but you're not good at doing this. I'm good at doing this. Do you want to team up and maybe we can work together? I love how EverQuest really captured that for sure. Like the class dependence, I think is done really, really well. Wow. You already landed on this, but do you have any like fun camp stories from your time, or like any like corpse run stories, like things going horrifically wrong? Those are some fun questions I like to ask, of just like,
Yeah.
were you ever able to salvage a really bad situation or just get blindsided by something? Because those stories tend to stay with us in these kind of games, and I just think that's really beautiful.
Yeah, I can give you a couple good ones that come to mind right away. One, I'm wearing, so this is some silly shirt I made. This is from
Oh,
one of the
nice.
moments. So that's Lodi, the big turtle, Lodi, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Let me get a little close. You know Lodi, right?
Does this say
So
drama?
it says damn, but
Oh, okay.
that's a whole nother story. So there's Lodi, and then see this little guy here?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I
me. That's
see
my
it.
wizard. That's my wizard. So
Oh,
someone took
that's
this
perfect.
picture, and I was like, this is the perfect picture. What happened was we were out. The way Lodizel works on P99 for you or whoever might not know is like it spawns somewhere, and then someone tries to tag it by being the first to hit it, and then they run it around for a long time until their guild gets there and they kill it. Whoever tags it first gets the rights to the kill,
Oh, that's right.
right?
Yes.
Like that's how it works, right? There's all these elf laws around it, right? So, um, we were there for one reason or another, and everyone's running around, and there's this big turtle. I had just gotten my flux staff as a wizard, right? So I was clicking this thing on everything because it's just, you just clicked on everything. I'm just helping, magic resist debuff, right? I was just using my flux staff. I clicked the turtle, and it's like a big no-no, right? Like this is like a guild raid target. Like you don't do this. You know what I mean? This is not something you do. So I clicked the turtle once just to help, like, oh, I'll just debuff it for you guys. Right, of course, it's never going to land. Resisted immediately and turns on me because no one had any aggro on it. They had just tapped it, and now we're running it around for X amount of time. So this turtle starts chasing me around, and I remember the line is I'm like, I've been drinking too. I'm crazy. I don't know if I was retro Randy or not, but I'm on one, and I remember the line was, I made a mistake. I'm running, and like the GM came into my chat, and he's like, what is going on? You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? I guess someone had told him I was streaming, so I didn't get in trouble for it, but I pretty close. I honestly didn't know, right? But if I had known and I was interfering, raid interference, whatever, you can get a suspension. You know what I mean? So that was a pretty funny one.
That's
There was
awesome.
another one where we were fighting dragons out in Western Waste, and I had a bunch of people there. It was like 2 or 3 full groups. This is one of the Friday nights, and as we're killing this dragon, I, in my stupor, had decided to put the evacuate spell on my number 1 slot for like something earlier, and just forgot to ever take it off. Right, like it was just had been sitting on my bar for a couple hours. So we're fighting the dragon. I'm like, okay, I'll nuke it now, number 1. And I evac'd my whole group, and we had the tank was in my group and the main healer was in my group. So
Oh
I
man.
evac'd us to the other side of the zone. And Western Waste is huge, you know what I mean? Massive zone. I evac'd us to the other side of the zone. And like everyone, it was like uh, we survived. I think somehow there was some big dudes, I guess, that were still back there. They were handling it, but yeah, that was a pretty fun one. And then I think that's how I got my gnome's my wizard's last name is Evac King, because of that.
Wow.
So those are a couple funny ones. I mean, there's so many, but those two come to mind as some really pretty big blunders on my part. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. That's what makes it fun. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely thank you for sharing that. What about epic weapons? I know you're more about the journey, but did you chase any epic weapons, or if what epics do
One.
you like the most? Like what are you Which one do you think looks cool? I think EverQuest just really did the epics right, for the classes. So very
Yes.
interesting to me.
Um, the warrior epics are awesome. The lightsabers are so cool.
Yeah.
As far as epics I have, the only epic that I ever got was on my monk. Pretty easy epic. Not much of a look either. It just kind of glows on your hands, you know. You get a little red glow on your hand, but
I think it looks cool. I think
it's
it looks
cool.
cool. It's got
It's
that like
cool,
energy, just kind of. Well, I love the particle
Yeah.
effects, even though it's just like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
early days of particle effects, it was just so cool to see, you know.
Oh yeah, no, particles still go insanely hard, you know. They're still so cool to see. Like
Yeah.
every time I cast harvest, I love it. It's so cool. I'll spin my camera around. I love it. I love looking at them, yeah. But yeah, so the monk was the only one I ever got, but I used to on Friday nights, sorry, my chair's squeaking. I on Friday nights
No
I
worries.
used to I found it really fun to try and help people get their epics. So we would find someone that didn't have their epic yet and like wasn't in a guild or like didn't have access to get it that way, and we'd go through them. So I've done pretty much the druid. I've done the druid epic like 3 or 4 times. I've
Wow.
done the cleric epic, not for me, but like went through and did all the battles and such. You know, cleric epic and the rogue epic. So none of the crazy ones. And then as far as what is my favorite epic weapon, man, that's so hard. The lightsabers look cool. The lightsabers look darn cool. But
I like how you can put them together. They can be like a two-handed version or
yeah.
just like the one-handed version. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, it's so cool. I think I'd have to go with that. I think I'd have to go with that. I'm still trying. I've been trying to get my wizard epic forever, but it's impossible. You know, on P99, like you don't. You know, you join a raid guild or you don't get it. You know,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, it's
So,
probably very contested, I imagine. I haven't been I have a
yeah.
level 51 necromancer on P99, but I haven't
hmm
like been to the raids at all yet, so
Yeah. Well, the necromancer epic is like one of the craziest ones. It's like as bad as the mage epic, where it's just like you just don't get this. You know what I mean? Like this is not an item that you have. You know. But yeah, someday I'm gonna get my wizard epic for sure.
nice. Nice. Let's see. I'm just kind of going down my list here. What about raid memories? I know you shared one. Do you have a favorite raid or just like a memorable raid encounter?
Dude, I never raided. I've never raided
Okay.
in my
I
whole life. I've never raided, man. I
Wow.
mean, I've done it like
I consider
small.
the epic weapons kind of raids. But
Yeah, so I've done multi-group stuff. Like I would take groups like the biggest raids that I would do, and it was cool because I was organizing them. You know what I mean?
mhm.
But I've never been in a raid guild, either back in the day or presently. And we would do like arena or like arena jugs. What are there? Or Western Waste Dragons, right? Or like I guess some of the epic fights. But it was, I guess I never considered it a raid because it was just like, 15 of my buddies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like, it wasn't like, okay, like, like there was no one barking orders at me. You know what I mean? When I think of a
Yeah.
raid, I think of like, get in line. Like, you know what I mean? Where are
Yeah.
the wizards? Like, bring the rogues. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
everyone do this. Like, it wasn't like that. It was just like, oh, are we hitting this guy now? All right, hit the dude then. All right. We'll
That's
kill him.
awesome.
So, yeah, I guess kind of though, you could be considered raids, but yeah, I really never got into that scene just because of a lot of it being to do on P99 rating is really rough. Uh, uh, you gotta put
Yeah.
in a lot of work and effort and bat phone and all that stuff. And I can't. I have 3 kids. You know what I mean. So no one's gonna bat phone me. You know what I mean. You are not bat phoning me. You know what I mean. So
I got you. Yeah.
I never got into it.
No, that's good. That's good though. It's good to be like when you mentioned with your friends, it doesn't feel that way, but it's just so much fun rather than a raid where yeah, you're being like barked at and there's commands and yeah, you got to wake up at 2 in the morning and this
Yeah,
raid
that's
targets
crazy.
up. I totally get it. I totally get it. And actually, I mean, this is something I don't know the answer to this, but it's something I've thought about a lot. It's like, is it really possible to recreate those good old days like in the modern age that we now all live in? Like it's very hard to kind of emulate that. We'll really dive into Monsters and Memories here in just a little bit, but I kind of wonder how that's gonna work. I'm very excited. I'm very interested in that. I think about it quite a bit. So, do you have any thoughts on recreating the good old days in just like a truly open world sandbox game where, a target might pop up. Although I'm sure these days I think people might figure out timers and stuff like that and kind of maybe be a little bit more civil. Like I've heard on like P99 or I mean I think Quorum to a major extent there's like waiting lists and stuff like that. People are generally more civil, but you never know like in the beginning, how things will go.
I think it's possible. I think the only way that you can actually recreate it now at this point that most of the original people who had the ideas and kind of the I guess the morals of the game design in their head, like McQuaid, like the original people are not around to make games anymore, right? So the only person I think who could do it would be current classic EverQuest players, like people that are currently playing, like you or me, right? Like someone who is actively playing the game and playing, very much aware of what is making this fun, because a lot of people don't know, I say this all the time when talking about MMOs, like this was like with the whole Pantheon fiasco and all that. It's like people don't know what they want, man. People will talk and say a lot of things, but you give them exactly what they want, as far as like a game design, and then they're bored of it. You know what I mean? It doesn't get them. People aren't all game designers, so
Yeah.
it's hard to listen to your audience, right? Your target audience, and still make the game because everyone's gonna have different opinions. But I think that someone who plays like specifically these classic like P99 or Quorum, more so P99, these types of servers and really understands like what is fun about those games, I think could recreate that fantasy. And like I really strongly feel that's what M is doing.
Yeah.
I really, really strongly feel. At first, I was like, weird EQ clone. Why? Why? And then I got it. Like I've learned who it was. Like Nick Hotz, the M developer, is a dude who I've known since 2020. I've known Nick since way before Eminem was a thing. He would come into stream, like, he was subscribed to me, and I would watch him stream, and like we knew each other. And I
That's
knew that
awesome.
he was a classic MMO player. We played Legacy of Ick with Level Up Larry, who's another classic P99 streamer.
Yeah. I love
And it's
Level
like
Up
anyone
Larry.
that was, oh, he's great. Yeah, he's fantastic. He was my guy. That's why I play P99, because of Level Up Larry. He raided me on like my first night getting on P99. I was playing P99 Red, and Level Up Larry raided me, and they had just started Legacy of Ick, which was hardcore, self-found, Ixar only. You cannot leave Kunark. And he had a bunch of people doing it. And among them was Nick Hotz. So I just knew him as like a dude, and I knew he played Hotz Heroes of the Storm. He had played that, and he was like had been like a major gamer. So we got along in that sense too, because I was like a big StarCraft 2 nerd and Warcraft 3 and all that.
Yeah.
So we got along in that sense, and he was just always a cool dude. And then when I kind of realized that that he's like involved in the game, and I had watched Robot designing it really early on, because he would design it in the EverQuest category, right? So I was always there. So I watched him designing it really early on. I was kind of like, what, I thought it was just a dude who loved to like make games, like he's just like having fun in his world. I didn't
Yeah.
think it was a game that I'd be playing.
Yeah.
I was like, this is really cool that he knows how to develop games. Neat. But it was just like a wall, and he was like a thing running around the wall. Like it was like, now I know it was the front of Night Harbor, you know what I mean? But it was just some wall he had, and I was like, okay, well, like I could probably do that in Blender too, given enough time or whatever. I mean, it's like okay, whatever. I just thought it was a dude that loved EverQuest, that was kind of having fun in his own way, right? Like that's
Yeah.
honestly all I thought it was. And then I started realizing like, oh, this is picking up, this is taking steam, and I was still kind of hesitant, like EverQuest is already perfect. Like that was kind of my opinion. It's already perfect. And then had my reservations that, well, the game's not going to go in the direction I want it to, because MMOs always go in the wrong direction. Look at every other MMO that I don't like. Why am I still playing this emulated server if they could just make a new MMO that would please me? Can't be done, right? Like that was my thought for a long time. Like, nah, you guys are just going to end up selling me an experience potion and an 80 slot bag for, $29.99 a month. And what, you know what I mean? Like I was just like, this is, it's not going to pan out. It's not going to go the direction I want. I'm such a weird niche gamer, no one's gonna make anything for me. And then it was like, wait, this is literally everything I want. You know what I mean? Like, no map? Like, oh, really? Like, oh, like, you can't even, just everything about the game is absolutely, I think the word for it would be like hardcore, right? Like, it's a very hardcore scenario where, like, you don't even get your spells after you die. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you don't even get your spell book anymore. It's like,
Yeah.
yes, take even more away from you. You know what I mean? Like, make it even more, almost hopeless, right? Like it's so cool because you're in this world that's so big and so vast and everything can kill you and it's hopeless except for your friends, right? Like that's really what it is. And that's like such a beautiful thing to say, right? Like that's really what it is. You're in this, and that's, I mean, is that not kind of like the life we're all living too, So
Yeah.
I really think it can be, it really can be recreated and they're doing it, dude. They're totally doing it. They're totally doing it.
I love it. I love it. Don't you feel like I feel like I mean I'm feel like I'm speaking for a lot of people, but it is so hard to describe into words. But I feel like this is the game that we've all been waiting for. We just didn't know what it was yet, but now that it's more fully formed and fully fleshed out, I feel like I've been waiting for
Yes.
something like this my whole life, and it's great. And I'm with you. Like I followed Sean for quite a while because when I got back into EverQuest, I was just wondering if it's like, hey, is anyone like doing anything like streaming, or have there ever been any like podcasts or conversations with the old like EverQuest developers? I wonder what happened. And that's when I found out that Sean was doing like those interviews he did with like the former EverQuest developers. And part of the reason why I love the game so much, I mean, I'm sure you can appreciate this as well. We Quatos and I touched on this, is like a big portion of the game is tied to like streaming culture and Twitch, because they've pretty much developed a lot of it basically just like streaming a large portion of it, and it all just kind of happened from conversations on Twitch while playing EverQuest. So it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a very natural progression, and I'm kind of with
It's
you,
the
like,
people's game.
exactly, yeah, power to the
People's
people.
game. Yeah.
Absolutely. And yeah, like, so it was on my radar for a while too, but I would just kind of pop in and there periodically. Like, I wasn't there since, you were a capsule or whatever. I actually tried to introduce my wife to the game in one of the clunkier playtests last year, and she didn't like it. I wasn't sure if I liked it, but I mean, and you can attest to this too, but like every single time that I've checked out the game, it's gotten better and better and better and better. Like every single playtest, you can see updates, you can see improvements. It's great. So yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, 100%, 100%. It's just they have the right idea. Like they don't care what people are saying about should have this, should have that. They have a fully clear vision of exactly what this game
Yes.
should be.
Oh, and
You know what I mean? They
can I
know.
just say, yes, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but yes, absolutely. Stick to your vision. That's so very
Yeah.
important. Whatever your game is, stick to it. Everybody else can just, I think they're really great at filtering feedback, I think too. It's like people have some ideas are
Yeah.
good, some ideas are not so good, but they're a team and they're just kind of they're doing it how they're doing it, and that's how it's going to be. And if you don't like it, go to other games. And I think that's kind of natural. I feel like you can't really make a game for millions of players anyway. I think we are meant to be more in like these smaller communities of maybe, 10, 20,000 people, and I think that'll be okay. Just my
Yeah. No.
personal opinion, but
100%. Yeah, no, I
yeah.
totally agree with you there. And it's like I mean, I always like this happened with I saw this most clearly with Pantheon, where it was like, man, they're not sure what's the better choice, and I think that was a really detrimental thing. You know what I mean? And yeah, with Eminem, they listen. Like you said, it's like the people's game. Like they are listening, but yeah, they know like this is outside the scope of what we're creating. It's not even it's not happening. You know what I mean? But yeah, at the same time, but yeah, I mean, you said it perfectly. They're really able to filter that feedback and improve the game, and it's not a carbon copy of EverQuest. It's totally its own game. They've added things, they've changed things. Um,
Yeah.
like comparing one MMO to any other MMO, like you know what I mean. Citrus fruit to another citrus fruit. Like they both have vitamin C, but they're entirely different. You know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
entirely different.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah, I love it. Wow. And so, okay, I guess it is going to be a forever game for you. This is one of my questions. What would Monsters and Memories need to do for you to for that to be your forever game? I feel like we've pretty much answered a lot of that.
I have to never be able to get the stuff I want. Like I have to like the amount of time that I would need to put in, like what I want from the game is for there always to feel like there's a lot ahead of me. Obviously, if you play a game and you max out everything and you get everything you want, you make all the characters you want, and you get them all the stuff you want, doesn't matter how beautiful the world is or whatever. What am I going to do? You know what I mean? Do it again, make a second
Yeah.
rogue and get the second rogue bis items, or,
Yeah.
what am I going to do? So really the biggest thing for me is like, just keep the difficulty to where, and it's unfair, right? Because like, and I'm one of the people on the unfair side of this. Like, I don't have the time. Like I physically can't play enough to get all these things, right? Like the most difficult, precious, rarest items, like referencing like P99, I guess. I don't know what's rare and precious in M&M yet, right? I have no idea. But being absolutely unable to get those items with the time I have, and then other people being like, yeah, sorry, bud, I play 18 hours a day and I got everything. And like, that's fine to me. You know what I mean? Like that means, well, if I strive for it, maybe I could get a little bit ahead. And that's like what the world is like, right? Like you're never going to have all of the money in the world. You're never going to have all of it. It's just not happening. You can try to get a little more. You can try not to lose more, but you're never going to have all of it. And that's what keeps us going. And I want my MMO to basically do that for me too. Maybe I'm just a blue collar guy. I don't know what it is, but I really like the idea of just like, I have to work for my stuff, and there's always going to be plenty of work to do. You know what I mean? There's always going to be leagues and leagues ahead of me in the amount of, to the level you can climb to. That's kind of, for me, that's the thing. I everything else, I love it. You know what I mean? I love the mud actions they've added in, and that like brings me back to my old Lensmore days, like I was telling you. You know what I mean? Like I love that they've added that stuff in. All the classes seem pretty good, and that's another thing. Character identity, I guess, would be the other thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Characters need to keep their identity. If you're a rogue, and like I'm sure you know this well, and you can't solo, right? Like rogue soloing is pretty rough, right? As far as I understand, I've never played a rogue, but my understanding from what people have told me, rogue soloing is tough. So be it. If you get in a group, you're gonna blast them, though. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna put out the best DPS in the group of anyone, pretty much 10 out of 10 times, right? Like the rogue is your guy as far as damaging the enemy, but he can't really solo. I want it to stay. You know what I mean? That's perfect, right? Like I don't want anyone to, like that. Like you said, everyone being able to do everything. As long as that stays out and there's a carrot that's way far ahead of me, I'm good to go for a long time, man. Just keep that carrot way. You got to cast that carrot way out. That's all it is. I need binoculars to see where my carrot is.
Yeah, no, I love that too. Yeah, difficulty, risk, reward. I love it. Yeah, I can't wait. I think they're gonna nail it for sure. And same for me. And yeah, they already have like a plethora of classes and races, and everything just feels so good, And it really is an evolution, It's not an EverQuest clone as some people have said. The classes have so much interesting things to them already. I mean, just from what I've seen, I haven't played them all, but like the Elementalist, for example, you have your pet can have like a different buff to the group, and we can dive into it deeper, but then you already have like summoned weapons very early with procs, and it's just like procs on top of procs. And what I really like is by the time you get to like level 3, 4, 5, you already kind of generally know how that class is gonna go, which is something that I really like too, like getting some of your stuff a little early. Whereas like, EverQuest, I remember like even like on the Beast Lords, it wouldn't be until like level 9 where I got like my first spell, and it was just kind of rough to like those first few levels. If you don't have any help, or you're not twinked, it can be kind of rough for sure. Okay, awesome. And what's the most promising thing for Monsters and Memories for you?
Oh man, just the wonder. Like I've played a lot of the open betas, the play tests, right? I've played a lot of those. Gotten pretty far, right? I think my Enchanter's level 40.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty high up, you know. I think higher than a lot of people have gotten in those. But I haven't played, like, I'm on the friends and family server, but I haven't put in hardly any time at all. I think I logged on once. Because kind of that wonder of you know, like when I got into P99, everyone knows, like, it's a solved game, right? Like, everybody knows everything, right? Like, so many people know so many things. I knew nothing, and I intend to keep it that way. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like, I still, to this day, I know a lot in EverQuest. I know a lot, but I don't know a lot like some of these dudes do, and that keeps it fun for me. Of like, the mystery, the exploration, the whoa, that's here. Oh man, I didn't know that. Oh, now that I know this thing, when I make my next character, I'm gonna know that I could come here to
Yeah.
get this cool item, or like, oh, I could just farm this when I'm bored. Like, dad camps are my, you know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah.
I love a dad camp that I can just park something, go do other things. Do, you know, a lot of my work is from my computer at home, so go do my work and just pop in every 25 minutes with a little timer or whatever, and blow something up and go back to it. And like, but knowing where that is, like, oh well, if you sit right in this corner and don't move, no one will aggro you, so you can AFK here. Things like that. So I feel like I've lost my thought from the question.
No, I love that. I was just
Things
gonna.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Go ahead.
that's amazing. I'm sorry. I was just gonna say, what is the most promising thing?
Yeah, most
Yeah.
promising. Yeah. So, um, really, you know,
And can I just
just
say
having
too,
that world. Yeah.
I
Go
was
ahead.
going to say the beginnings of these things is so great. And another thing I was going to ask you is that it's probably just because I'm sure you want to stream it, you want to really dive into it, absorb it as much as you can. The beginnings of MMOs in general are like really great, but a lot of them fall off very quickly. But in this case, it's like, yeah, when the world is new and fresh and nobody has it all figured out yet, and probably won't figure it out for a while, because it seems like they have some really cool hidden stuff in there for us. And I think that's what drives a
Yeah.
lot of us, you know.
Yeah, and I think that's why they're not letting anyone stream the friends and family server, because they want to keep that. You know, there's some people that have gone in and they've learned they're going to know everything that's been added to the game, you know. Some people like to play like that. For me, really the most promising thing is just having this new world that I can go and get all that same joy I get of logging into EverQuest and being like, "Oh yeah, I left this character over here because he was doing this, like he was trying to camp this item or whatever, but I'm going to bring him over here now because, you know, whatever it is, or I'm going to go get this guy to help do this thing because he's got the right item or the right tool for it, right spell, whatever it is." But in a completely new world. You know, I don't know everything in EverQuest, but I know quite a bit. You know what I mean? I know a good amount. So it's like some of that wonder is unfortunately, you know, squeezed already with EverQuest. So with M&M, it's like same deal. I'm going to have this attachment to this really harsh, difficult world and environment, where we have to rely on each other, and we everything is new. Everything is new for everyone. You know, that's really the most promising thing for me, is like, man, if the game plays the way a style of game that I like and can get me hooked, but everything's new, it's just like, you know, it's gonna change my life, man. It's gonna change my life.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. How are we doing on time? We're about an hour in. All good.
Oh yeah, I'm chilling, man. I can talk. I can talk. I'm chilling.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Okay. Do you have a big concern about monsters and memories? Anything you're concerned about? On, I guess, the inverse of that question from what you've seen so
Um,
far.
uh, because I know, like, actually, you know, not personally, we're not like best friends, but because I know Nick and he's kind of the one, I don't have very many. But really, my concerns were kind of like what I was voicing a little earlier, just like, are they going to try to appease too many people? Are they going to make the game too easy? Eliminate, you know, character identity, eliminate difficulty of travel, eliminate difficulty of court. You know, are they going to start putting these quality of life things in that deter from my immersion in the world? But like, I know Nick, and like, there's no shot. You know what I mean? Like, there's no shot they do that. You know, there's no shot. So it's honestly, no. They've already won me. They've already won me over. Like, they'd have to completely 180 and turn it into a Fortnite at this point. You know what I mean? Like I don't think there's anything they could do
Oh man, yeah.
unless they entirely change their team to upset me. Like I think they've locked it in. I really think they've the people involved, the good energy they have too, and that's like another thing too. It's like you were saying, like the community built and community driven. Like the energy around it is so good. Like no one feel like I watched the hours and hours of these dudes working. No one seems to be working, right? Like it never looks like you're watching work. Like everyone's having fun, from the artist to the composer to everyone is just having a great time, and everyone is literally on the exact same page. The exact same page. They all get it, exactly what they're trying to do. So,
I love it.
they're it's wild.
Really,
It's
really coming together.
It defies what I think is possible in a lot of ways. Like really, like so you guys are all just cool dudes that are making this thing that's going to be potentially huge. I mean, this could be a really, I was shocked at how many people still loved EverQuest and still do to this day. And I mean, this is a whole new game that's going to bring in a whole new audience, plus all that old. And then now you've got yourself a true bustling community. Like, I mean, Quorum gets pretty crazy. Quorum servers like cap out, they're still capping out. Like today, like last weekend, I think Quorum capped out, so it's like all those people go into this game because I feel like almost all emulated EQ players are going to dip into M&M before long. You know what I mean? They're all going to dip over there. And then you bring in all this new fresh blood, and that's a community. That's a real, it's a big chunk, man.
And you know what's crazy too? I think it's going to be a lot bigger than people think. I mean, I think there's people, in the World of Warcraft community and Final Fantasy 11, Final Fantasy 14, what have you. I think it's going to surprise a lot of people for sure. And I think it's actually kind of interesting going to emulated servers too. Just an observation. It does seem like we're kind of going back to try to capture what was lost, and I always say this, that Monsters and Memories is just kind of, they understand that soul, and it's beautiful that it kind of, it does feel kind of old and old school, but it also feels new at the same time. It's truly something special and unique, and it's going to be amazing. Yeah, absolutely. I think they're going to nail it. Okay, so whenever you go into the game, are you going in, I'm assuming you're going in with a static group. I have some questions regarding like Quatos and stuff later. Just they're really fun if you don't mind. But
I'd love to answer questions. I could talk about Quatos all day, man.
I'm assuming you guys are gonna go in together. Are you guys kind of do a static group? Are you gonna like compete? Go for world first? Are you gonna grind out a bunch of alts, focus on crap? Do you have a plan going into the game? Let's say it's EA. What's your plan?
Yeah, so my plan is definitely there, but it's more so just like, I'm not like I gotta hit the server like this, and we got like when the first playtest dropped, or the first one we all played, and we were all making level 1s on Krivia, we had a plan for like, okay, we're going to go here at level 4. We're going to go to Night Harbor. Like we were trying to get out ahead of the pack because there's so many people that rush the server. You're competing for one spawn point. You know what I mean? We were like, we got to get out of Night Harbor into Wormsbane before everybody else. We approach it tactically. We were like Navy SEALs. Like, okay, we're going to,
I love that.
Yeah, we approached it like that because we wanted to have a great time with that limited hours, right? Everything changes when you remove those, hey, this is live for 18 hours, this is live for 48 hours, this is live for 5 days, 7 days, 14 days. Once it's always open, I'm going to take a very different approach. I will not be at the front of the pack for sure as far as leveling goes. But my plans as of right now are, I'm definitely going to remake Bon, my Enchanter. So I'll definitely make an Enchanter as like my character, because I just want to have that tool this time around. Like when I started P99, I made a wizard, got him to level 60 after years, and then realized, oh man, wizards can't do anything. You know what I mean? I was like, oh darn. All my friends would come and we're trying to go do these really cool dungeons and cool fights.
Yeah.
And it would be like everyone had this super important like role, like, dude, we gotta get a warrior, or like, man, we need to have an enchanter so we can pass unit, or we need to have this, we gotta have that, we need this. And it was like, and also you can come to wizard, man, like, sure. You know what I mean? Like I was so inconsequential to the like. It was I was just the guy, which worked perfectly for me because again, dancing around drunk in a wig, right? Good to not have all the pressure on my shoulders, but I want to be able to contribute in a meaningful way and be able to do cool stuff with less people. And the Enchanter, I think, is the number one class for that. You know, it's risky, but you can get a lot done with an Enchanter. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I want to have that as my character. I'm committed already to playing another Oops All with Q. He locked me in on this long ago. So I'm sure you heard about this in your talk with him or elsewhere with Q. Oops All Knights or Oops All Auras is what it turned into. So we're all going to be a class with an aura. So it's like the Shadow Knight, the Paladin, the Inquisitor, and there's a couple other boys there too.
Oh, interesting.
And so we'll have 5 auras on everyone, or 6 auras on everyone in the group. Will have 6 different auras, and just then what? You know what I mean? What do we do then? You know, so just like a silly thing. So every Thursday night's going to be Oops All Auras. I think I'll be playing Inquisitor. So those 2 characters will probably be Enchanter and Inquisitor, which is a lot of overlap, but you know, that's fine. You know, I don't mind that. And I think it's fun too for like, yeah, I'm the guy, you know, like I've tried both of them. I can tell you about both. You know, I think that's cool from a streaming perspective and from just gaining knowledge in the game. I'll really immerse myself in that whole CC area of the game and learn it first.
I love that.
And then I want an archer too. The archer is cool, man. So my archer is going to be my solo boy. I might even do something like self-found solo or something like that. Maybe just self-found, not solo. I'm not sure. And those are my 3. So Enchanter main, Inquisitor for funny Thursday stuff, and an archer for solo times. And I just, you know, like I said, I just want to get in there and have fun. I'm really not racing towards anything or trying to get anything quicker than anyone. I just want to play. Yeah. You know, I just want to play. Q will drag me into wild stuff, though. I'll tell you that. I'm sure I'm going to find myself doing something crazy. But we'll see. You know, we'll see.
I love that. Yeah, it sounds like you've already got your content kind of planned around that, like with your streaming schedule and setup and stuff. And I love that. You know, you always got to stay true. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like for me, I would love to, but realistically, I don't have that time. You know, I work on a couple other things. I just don't have as much time as I would like, you know. So I'll probably take the PTO route though, you know. Quatos and I talked about that. We're probably going to take a week or 2 off, just go as hard as we can. Try to get slightly ahead of the pack, but I'm assuming everybody who's taking the game kind of seriously will. And but yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun for sure. Yeah, okay, awesome. And yeah, I love that, by the way, too. The game has done an excellent job sort of resurrecting. You know, we always talk about the 3 pillars, you know, tank, heal, DPS. That's all great. That's kind of like the norm in MMOs. But you know, Monsters and Memories, they have the 4th class back, which is the Enchanter, the CC, like buffer, debuffer. I think that's beautiful. I'm horrible at it. I've kind of taken a stab. I personally don't enjoy it, but I love an amazing Enchanter. I mean, you know, just you can just really turn the tide. That's a beautiful thing I love about that class. Very iconic for sure.
I love that you're doing something different than everybody else, right? Like all the DPS are all doing all the DPS. All the tanks are getting getting hit in the face as many times as they can, and all the healers are keeping the tanks from dying and everyone else from dying.
Yeah.
And then there's that one other guy who's playing his own tune. You know what I mean? And that's like Bard and Enchanter. They're just like they've got a very different job in the group from everyone else, and they do it. You know, there's a big, you know, you can have a really bad Enchanter and a really bad Bard, and you could have a really good one. And that applies to every class, of course, but I just think it's super present. And CC's always been my favorite. My favorite CC ever was from City of Heroes. I don't know if you ever played that or are familiar with it. But the CC class in City of Heroes locked it in for me as CC just being such a fun time. You know, such a fun time to control everything. You know, it's a rush. You know, it's a total rush to have a big pull go wrong.
Exactly.
And your puller comes running into camp, you know, with 12 things on him, and you're like, AoE mez. All right, what do you guys want to do now? You know what I mean? Like, and then in that, most of the time the Enchanter's chilling and I'm putting clarity on people. But when stuff goes really south, it's on me now, right? Like I need to I need to kind of jump in and be like, okay, they're mezzed. I'm mezzing this guy. You got to kill this guy. He's going to break in 10 seconds. I'm gonna memblur this guy so he goes back, but I need you guys to do, you know, all of a sudden you're in control. And with the wizard, what that did was the evac, right? When things got really bad, you would evac everybody out, and you were the hero. You know, that was the only one that did that. So I love that kind of, I guess, you know, being the odd man out in that sense, or odd man in, I suppose, you know.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. Both, that's a very good strength to have. You can either get the party out or you can just turn a bad pool into something good. And I'm sure you can attest to this too, like a hopeless situation, and then it slowly starts to turn like, oh, okay, we got this, you know, it's great.
Yeah,
And
that's the
you
best
know,
feeling, man.
as a kid, I always thought this is kind of a stupid take now that I look at it, but I always thought like an enchanter was kind of weak when I was like playing EverQuest as a kid. I was like, well,
Yeah.
their nukes just aren't that strong. Their pet isn't that good compared to like a mage pet. They're basically like a really weak mage. Like why even
Yeah.
have one? But then when
Yeah.
I realized what they can do, it's amazing. You know,
Yeah, it blew my mind when I first saw enchanters like soloing. Like I remember enchanters would solo. They go down in Velkator's labyrinth and solo the Broodmother by themselves. And like
man.
I've gone down there with a full group, man, epicked out and wiped. You know what I mean? And he's in there by himself. Just, you know,
Yeah.
it blew my mind. Yeah, it blew my mind when the amount you can apply your own knowledge. And I guess this is something I haven't really touched on, but this is another huge thing about EverQuest specifically. It's there's in-game knowledge, right? Like, you know, like let's look at like a World of Warcraft. Like, yeah, you can fly there with the eagle, and then like you want to buy these potions from this guy because they're the best potions, and like you have to have all this gear, and then you'll win this battle. Just press all your buttons, you'll win this battle as long as you have do, right? It's kind of like it's a set thing.
Hmm.
In EverQuest, all the knowledge, I mean, obviously equipment is important, but so much of it, and I think this is because they didn't have the capabilities to do like these involved boss fights where things are blowing up on the floor and like things are lighting up, and they didn't have the capability of that. So it's all real human things. Like, do you remember how to get back? Left, right, left, right, left, left to get out of this dungeon. Do you remember? Like you as a human, do you remember? No? Okay, then you're dead. You know what I mean? Or do you know, it all feels like it's on me as a person rather than like in-game stuff. It's like my understanding, what I know in my actual brain, not what my character is wearing on their helmet, but what I know in my head is really what's getting you through it, you know, and that I think is really what keeps me locked, man. You know, it's just so
Yeah.
different from games these days. It's so different. You know, it's so much human knowledge. They really try to bring the human element into the game rather than
Yeah.
segmenting it, you know?
I got you. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And, actually, it's really interesting. Like, Sean was talking about this in his stream once. It's like, if you think about it, like those worlds, like, for example, Guck, like with those, yeah, left, right, left, like you said, in a panic situation, there's nothing really that the game is throwing at you. The spawns are static and, you kind of, but yeah, if you lose track of when something spawns or whatever, and then you kind of forget which way to turn, then it turns into like this horrific maze, like where you're trapped and everything is chasing you and you just can't get out. But yeah, it's nice. Yeah, it's like it's you, the human, and your knowledge and your sort of brain power versus like your character. I love that. I love that so much. Do you okay, this is a really fun one. I don't know the answer to this either. I'm just genuinely curious from people who have kind of been deep into these games a lot more than me, but do you think that MMO classes are basically solved at this point? Do you think there's any more room to kind of innovate on the classes, whether that's tank, heal, DPS? And if there is, where would that be, would you say? Class identity, utility, social reliance, group roles? And just while you're thinking about that too, if you could add something to Monsters and Memories that would fit, like, do you have any ideas for like an interesting class or like anything they should do? I'm sorry, this is a bit of a layered question, but like for example, some people have said, the archer and the ranger is just so similar. Why don't you combine them? Or, that's probably the most prevalent example. But just wanted to see if you had any thoughts there.
That's a really good question. So it's, I think for the most part, if you try to come up with something unique as far as MMO classes, it ends up being a hybrid of 2 or more classes, right? Like you can, you know, they for the most part, right? They've got pets, they've got classes that heal, they've got classes that control, they've got tanks, they've got damage dealers. For the most part, it's kind of hard to deviate from that, you know, but without ultimately, right, like you make, like, I want a class that like has a pet, but he he does a lot of crowd control. It's like Enchanter, you know what I mean? I feel like anything I could try to name would already have a home, you know. It's already a thing, you know. But if anything, I'd say probably where that would lie is in like the necromancer type of class.
Ooh,
you know what I mean? Because the
interesting.
necromancer is really unique, but it, you know, when I think of creepy bone skeleton guy, there's quite a few different variations of that I could think of. But in games, a necromancer is always the same thing. He has a skeletal pet and he casts like a curse, right? Like that's always, you know, that's always pretty much how they go in every game. But you know, is there a what about a necromancer type class that didn't have a pet? You know, just as far as I'm thinking, like what could be created from classes that's not yet. And then it kind of, but then even still now, as I'm saying this, I'm like, you know, Simpsons did it. It's Diablo 2 necromancer. You could just go curses, right? You wouldn't have pets and you'd be curses, right? So it exists somewhere. But in the MMO space, I've never really seen that. You know, like just a very heavy debuffing class. You know, they're not crowd controlling, but they're just debuffing targets in various ways. And then, you know, that would be kind of interesting, right? Like a necromancer that didn't have the strong pet, didn't have all the dots, but instead their dots were, or their real benefit to the party came from debuffs. Because like necromancers do have a strength debuff or like siphon strength, things like that. But it's, you know, it's just like a neat little toy in their arsenal. Whereas, you know, they're casting splurt, they're casting root, they're casting snare, they're sending their pet on it. They're transferring life to their friends. You know, they're really, all their other abilities are much bigger than their debuff. So I guess if I was really trying to create a unique class, I'd probably try to make like a curse-based necromancer that maybe like damage instead of life tap. What about damage dealing that hurt you? But then you have ways to regain health with other spells. You know what I mean? So you're throwing your HP at the enemy. You know, and then so you've got this crazy necromancer in your group who keeps redlining. And he's like, no, I'm fine. I'm just doing my thing. You know what I mean? You know, already there's like Lich, right? So they hurt themselves a little bit, but kick that up a notch. You know what I mean? Like, I'd like to see a necromancer, not necessarily for M&M, although, hey, if you're watching, you know, maybe y'all could try it. But I would like to see that, you know, a necromancer that was just a like a wizard style necromancer, essentially. You know, somewhere in between those two, where you're not pet focused and you're not snares and dots, but instead debuffs and maybe using your HP. I think that hey, maybe I'm onto something here. You know, I don't know. I came up with this on the top of my head here. You know, but that's kind of what I think could. There's still room there for ingenuity. And then to the second part of this question, as far as what would I like to see in M&M that's potentially not already there. Well, it's not an auction house, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, no, it's great. I love how you've just like the devs and their design philosophy, you're quadrupling down on all the quality of life stuff, which was fun because I was gonna fire off. Obviously, we already covered the map thing. Just while you're thinking about it, I was gonna see how do you feel about the map debate? How do you feel about chat bubbles? How do you feel about auction house? Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
think I know what those
Yeah.
answers are gonna be.
Yeah, well, feel free to ask. I'd love to go deeper into that. But yeah, I think that for Eminem, really all I'd like to see added are more really unique camps. Maybe I just haven't found them yet, but my best example of this is the Fungus King camp down in Old Sebelis. On P99 is like one of the most difficult camps where like You move to the left, you die. You move to the right, you die. If you don't do it this one specific way, you're fighting 30 frogs every time to get in and get out, and it's not
Man.
even worth it.
Yeah.
And how to pull the king. Like I learned, I learned from the best. I learned from a buddy of mine who's just like a bis-slotted monk who's crazy. How to pull that camp is so hard, to heal that camp is so hard, to do anything there it's so hard. But the loot, obviously, the fungi tunic is huge, right? Like bunch of money, but great loot, best thing you can get in a group of like 3 people, 2 people, and there's people that do it in just groups of 2, and they log back and forth between 2 characters. They get on their cleric and do this, and they pull with a monk and they log him out while he's mezzed, and then they get on an enchanter and they, whatever they're doing. But it's just like you can't go in there. Like I've tried to bring people that have never been to the Fungi King camp into the camp to do it, and we just wipe because they don't know all these millions of little nuances that I can't even think to tell them because there's just too many, and it's all confined in one little room. Like, here, like this is like a funny little trick on P99. There's a room you have to go by, and if you keep killing the mobs in that room until they're the lower level spawn, then you can actually pull right by the door and nothing will aggro you. I did that camp for years without knowing that, and then one day someone told me like, no, you don't even have to kill those. You just have to kill it until it spawns as a lower level, right? Like keep like cycling the mob, and then you can run right by. As long as you're a level 60. If you're a level 59, they'll aggro you through the door. And if you're not rubbing up against the wall, they'll aggro you through the door. And if you pull back too far this way, then you'll push them into this thing. And if you don't hit them that way, I could go on and on and on of all these little tiny nuances. And it's just a hallway. It's just an L-shaped hallway. But there's like a million things to know about this one little hallway. You know what I mean?
Wow. Yeah.
And that's what I want to see more of in MMO, in M&M, because, and not to say they don't already have this, right? Like I am not always the most observant guy. I might not pick up on all that nuance right away. Someone might have to show it to me, or I might have to just be there for a really long time. But I love that. And I don't know how much of it was intentional design and how much of it is just happened chance and it was solved by some big gamer. You know what I mean? Or did the developers design it that way to be like, well, it's exactly, 20 feet away so that they can do this. If that, I don't know. I don't know if it was developed or it just happened, but
Very interesting.
really, really difficult camps is what I like to see more of. Just really like, you have to know this place to do it.
I love the idea of like having very difficult places to get to and hold, or just like, just places that are hard to get to. So not everybody can have that, So now we're not all walking around with fungi tunics or whatever, Just I love that so much, and I feel like that's what EverQuest did so well too. You would see like a very high level group of players moving through a low level area, and you'd be like, wow, maybe one day I can be like those guys. Where are they
You
going?
chase after him, right? Yeah, you chase him like a kid on his bicycle, like following the, like,
Exactly.
oh, what's your armor? Like, where'd you get that? Like, what's glowing? What is that? Yeah, I remember that feeling of being like, man, someday I'll be that. Yeah, that exact same feeling. Yeah.
But man, I tell you, there's already so many places that are so interesting and mysterious. Like, so for me, like I always say this too, I tested what I want to test. I'm really happy with it. Like those play tests, even if it ships right now, I'm ready to go. But like, even just from my limited perspective, Fallen Pass is as far as I got. I'm level 24. Actually, I de-leveled. I'm level 23 now. I died stupidly. I was testing out safe fall, and I just kind of bounced off a little ledge. But man, like, so this last playtest,
You
I was
died for
just,
science.
yeah, I did. Yeah. And I was just kind of sneaking around, just like Fallen Pass is so huge. People still don't know. There's so many little nooks and crannies and areas. There's like undead area. I mean, I won't spoil it or anything like that, but there's just so much stuff out there. I mean, that entire zone can probably support like, I don't know, dozens and dozens of groups just at various different places. And I mean, and that's even, well, what is that? Like just 2-3 zones I've seen. Even just in that little opening area, there's so much more zones in the game that I haven't even been to. So, yeah, man, that's great.
Fallen Pass is amazing. I love Fallen. It's.
I love the
I had told
music.
Nick about Fallen Pass that it's too good. I was like, Fallen Pass is too good because it's like I feel like I just arrived at the massive, like America's biggest shopping mall. When I get to Fallen Pass, it's like, oh my god, level 20 Drakes over there, level 27 skeletons over there, level 32 things over there, level 38, and you can keep going. I feel like you
Yeah.
never have to leave Fallen Pass.
Yeah.
Like you could just get to max level in Fallen Pass almost. You know what I mean? Like you
That is
just
true. Yeah.
never have to leave. You know,
The
like it
only
just
thing,
there's just keeps going.
yeah, the only thing I didn't get to was I tried to actually get to the green castle or like that ominous castle in the distance.
Yeah.
I
You're this close.
tried to get to where it was. I don't know if that's in yet or what, but yeah. And then there's like another little area. There's so many interesting areas that they've built up where I don't know what it is. Like I was stealthed over there and just kind of looked around and it looks important, but I don't know. And yeah, I
And
just
you never
love
know what
that.
could spawn too. You know, like you see
Exactly.
these mobs and like, oh, that looks like a placeholder. You know, like ooh, I
Yeah.
got to get back here. Yeah, the green castle is amazing too. Yeah, God, we
Yeah.
got this close. We were just below it. We were like right on the ledge, right like the castle's just right there. But I'm not
Yeah.
sure if you could get inside or what. Yeah, we weren't. We didn't get high enough to figure it out. You know,
Yeah.
but
My
yeah,
favorite thing is that the game does put a point of interest like that. So already like you spawn in the game level 1 and you could probably just turn around and see it from Night Harbor. It's amazing. I love that that's
genius.
there. And that's my favorite thing about the game, honestly, is just like this the atmosphere, the sense of scale. You can see things in the distance. The music is amazing. Like the music is life-changing. I love the music. It's probably my favorite thing. The lighting, like the sunset, the sunrise. It's like you appreciate it every time, and they nailed that perfectly. Like they really did. That's probably my favorite thing about the game.
Yeah, I remember being in. This was one of the earlier play tests. We were in Telekir, which is like I call it Cat Town. They're not even cats. I think they're like dogs. I don't know what they
Yeah,
are, but Cat
yeah,
Town. They're Jekylls, right? But I call it Cat Town. I don't know. They little cats, you know.
yeah,
Zootopia, you know, whatever it is. Uh, Telekir, and we were in like this cave. And we were pulling like it was kind of like a cave that went up and then it curved and it went into another room. So there's mobs up in this room and there's mobs down below. And Q is just doing his thing, pulling from above, pulling from below, pulling from above, pulling from below. And then there would be a sandstorm, and the sandstorm's coming in through the cave. So none of us can hardly see anything. And then it would be nighttime. And I remember I was putting down, I had a ton of wood and sap or whatever the other thing is to make torches. So I kept putting down torches on the trail going up and down. So the whole time I just kept renewing these torches because Q couldn't see anything. You know what I mean? The sand, they've gotten better. They're still pretty bad. But at this time, the sandstorms at night, it was like pitch black and your screen's covered in sand. Like you can't see anything at all. You know what I mean? And I remember putting down the torches and just feeling like, man, like this is like we're really here. You know what I mean? I felt like I was like Bear Grylls or something. You know what I mean? Like we're out here, like oh, like the sand's blowing, and like we just got to
yeah,
put some torches so we can survive. Like the you know it's a camp, right? But I was getting the sensations I feel you get from like actually camping, like being outdoors. You know what I mean? Like man, like I feel like we're really fending for ourselves out here. We found this spot, we've nestled in, you know, but we're trying to make it suitable, but it's really rough and like
yeah.
it's just it's such an immersive world, man. So immersive.
Quatos mentioned you had a very interesting idea. Maybe as an enchanter, you could put a shield over the party or something like that. I thought that was very genius, actually, because that's something I thought about too. Maybe you could even sacrifice like one of your backpack slots to get like a tent or something for your party to
Yeah.
carry it. Or I really like that idea of like some kind of shelter. It's interesting you
Yeah.
thought of that, and it makes sense like thematically for an enchanter. You know, some kind of rune or shield.
Yeah.
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 How do
And
you?
they put everything in the game for that. You know what I mean? Like there is already if it rains, your campfire is no longer sheltered. So
Yeah.
you're not getting the warmth from it because it's raining. But then if you put the campfire under a thing, like they've already put that in. So it's like, so why can't I control that? You know, like I really love that idea of, you know, like I love like my Minecrafts and I'm not a big survival guy, but you know, I love Minecraft. You know what I mean? And I love that idea of the camp being you got to find the place and you know, that's another thing that I hope they do more of is like more kind of little areas where you can put down the campfire and it'll protect you from the elements while you're still playing. You know what I mean? So like a little outcropping in the rocks, like, oh guys, I know a perfect spot out here where we can camp because this sandstorm is just so terrible. You know, like that really immerses you having to talk that out with your group and figure it all out of like, where are we going to go? This sandstorm could last another 2 hours. Like, I can't do this out here. I can't see. We're going to die. I'm going to fall off the cliff.
Yeah.
We we have to figure something out. And then, yeah, so my idea with that was like enchanters being able to summon just a little thing that goes over the campfire so it's you still get the warmth from it. You know what I mean? It makes sense. I can
Yeah, I love
summon
that.
a pet that holds a sword and a shield. So why couldn't I summon a little guy that holds a little umbrella? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, why not?
Yeah.
Maybe even the pet could do it. Like, maybe I could sacrifice my pet to do it. And he just, I mean, obviously that's kind of silly. I doubt that's what the route they'll go, but it makes sense. Like you said, thematically, it makes a lot of sense. And it's a really fun mechanic, and embracing that more too, where like the way it is right now, the sandstorms get all through everything. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter where you're at, the sandstorm's blowing through. But if they figure out a way to block it off at points where it's like, oh, if you go inside this cave, the sand's not blowing in here anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's coming. It's just going to be a matter of someone sitting down and making all these walls and, troubleshooting, whatever they do. That's going to feel so cool too. Cause it's like the elements are really messing with you. Like, there's no light. It's dark. You can't see with the sand. And I hope they dig further into that. You know what I mean? Where it's like, you're at battle with all these monsters and the environment,
Yeah.
and and it doesn't have to be complicated. Like Pantheon was doing big, like, oh, you're gonna have 20 different resistances, and this is gonna be a poison environment, this is gonna be an ice environment, this is gonna be a fire environment, this is gonna be just make it sandy and stink, and I don't like it. You know what I mean? Like, that's all I need. Like, just make it like an annoyance, like that's more than enough. Like, just make it annoying. And then we're going to solve it because we don't want to be annoyed by it. Like, just that in and of itself is huge. I think it's a huge additive to the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Nighttime is very dangerous. Sandstorms are massively inconvenient, and yeah, I've gotten lost even. I kind of knew where I was going, and then yeah, it threw me off for sure. And now they're hiding the nameplates as well, so it's like kind of like you don't know what's in the darkness if you're not careful. I love it. I love it. Man, interesting. That's I mean, we're pretty much coming to the end of the Monsters and Memories questions. Like, the only thing I was gonna touch on, if you want to go more in depth, and then if you don't mind, just if we're good on time, I do have some questions regarding Quatos, and then
let's talk it. Yeah, let's
JRPGs, streaming and whatnot.
Yeah, I this is awesome, by the way. Just
Dude.
I'm having so much fun. This is great.
Dude, I was gonna say this is amazing too. Thank you so much for doing this. I know you're a busy guy, and I'm really glad too. I wasn't sure how I should kind of shoot my shot, and you're one of like the big sort of established streamers in the space, so I wasn't sure. But this is great, and I think the community really loves stuff like this. You'd be surprised. Like I said, I'm more of a YouTube guy. And they love these kind of stories, especially the EverQuest community, because, I'm sure a lot of them catch you live all the time and kind of know a lot of this stuff. But it's really nice to just kind of present it in this way where it kind of does feel more of like a timeless conversation. I feel like people are really going to appreciate it. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And too, I told Quatos, like, any kind of like what little like ad revenue or whatever there might be, I'd be really happy to give that back in the form of subs or bits or like whatever on Twitch. Like I said, bear with me because I'm relatively new to the Twitch stuff. I've been very inconsistent as a streamer, so it's just a world that's very fascinating to me. And then even too, sorry, just to kind of throw all this at you, like when I watch Quatos and you guys, you just have this like incredible energy, incredible charisma, and I just realized, dude, like over the holiday break, I was doing my alerts and like doing all my stuff, and I'm just like, man, I can't like dance, I can't do any of this like wildly entertaining stuff. So I love it. I mean, everybody's got a certain style, but I'm glad you're having fun. I'm having a wonderful time, and plus I'm learning so much too. I haven't been like that deep into EverQuest like you guys have, so it's awesome. Fair. It's awesome. Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I'll cut that little bit out. So my only thing with Monsters and Memories, unless you want to add anything else, is the map debate. Like, where do you land on like a GPS map versus just even like a crudely drawn goblin map? I'm of the opinion, let's just not get a map. Let's not do it. Even, I mean, Yeah, definitely not GPS map because I love just I've already kind of learned where some of the landmarks are. I know like where the sun kind of rises from. And how do you feel about need or greed? Even like a need or greed loot button.
Yeah, yeah,
Where do you
let's talk
land with
about
all
it.
the quality of life stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, I love to talk about this stuff because I think a lot of people just want this stuff because they've had it before, right? In game I played before, I had XYZ. Why does game 2 not have my XYZ? Why? If it doesn't, that's stupid. You know, like a lot of people don't think beyond that. You know what I mean? I really, and so I think talking this stuff out, us as like classic MMO enjoyers, um, it causes people to think, second guess some of their reservations about what an MMO should and should not have. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, for a modern MMO player with all sorts of quality of life to jump into P99 EverQuest is rough. Admittedly, it's rough, you know, but it pays off in the long run. So yeah, I love talking about this. I'd love to talk about this. So maps, number one, no, there should be no map button where you open it and there's a map there. Definitely no GPS maps. Even if it was a static map, you lose so much of the fun because you can just look at it and everything's laid out for you. But if this is an immersive world, you know, with towns and you know, commerce happening, and they're talking about this caravan thing that they're going to do, right? Where there's like this trade component of caravanning.
Mm-hmm.
Someone in this world would make a map, right? It would be silly for us to say there's no maps that exist. In all of Night Harbor, no one ever drew a square to show you the shape of, you know, the Night Harbor. You know, like that would be crazy to think that. Of course there's maps in the world, right? Because it's an immersive world. Of course there's maps in it. But what if you had to acquire those and they had to be a slot in your inventory? Each zone had a static map you could look at, because what are you going to do instead? You're going to go pull up the browser and Google it, and it's going to be there, and better versions of all the maps will be there. You know what I mean? They're going to exist always on Google. Also, how to unlock Vincent in Final Fantasy VII will always exist, right? But you can figure it out if you just spend enough time and read and pay attention. You know what I mean? Everything will always exist. But I think doing something like that would be acceptable. If you had to pay in some sort of way for it, you know, like they're losing an inventory slot and they had to get this item and it's expensive or difficult or tedious. You know what I mean? Maybe you have to, you know, run around, you know, I don't know, right? It's a quest. I don't know how they would do it, you know, but something like that I could see being okay if the team in all their knowledge thought that this would be something they could implement tastefully. I would be okay with it. I wouldn't like, you know, I wouldn't be picketing outside. You know, I'd be okay with that. But as far as a button actually doing a map, no way, dude. No way. Because why? You know, go learn it. That's the whole fun, is go learn this cool world. And like you said, you can see the Green Castle. You can see Night Harbor from a million miles away. Just figure it out. You know what I mean? It's not too hard. It's hard, but it's not too hard. You know what I mean? It's not undoable. And it's a lot easier in M&M because of that draw distance, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. I love
So
it.
with maps,
I tend to agree.
yeah, maps, that's my thought on it. I would be open to that. And then the other ones you had said was a need or greed button.
Yeah, what do you, how do you feel about a need or greed button? The loot drops, it pops up, you know? We all roll.
Yeah, it's the quality is fantastic, but it comes back to that needing other people, relying on other people. So I like having to talk about it in the group chat. Hey, this thing dropped. You know, what do you want to do? Whoever looted the body is the one that gets to tell you. Like, there's a really funny moment with me and Q where we're doing Fungi King, and he clicks the body. So when you loot a body, you lock the corpse. Nobody else can touch it. You know what I mean? And he clicks the body, he locks the corpse, and he's like, he basically BS's me, and like like he says something drops. I'm like, oh, and then, you know, he lets go and it's not, you know, and I think that's fun. You know, if you have a loot menu, none of that, that's how it would be. Like the same way, like, yeah, of course someone would draw a map in, you know, of Night Harbor, because it's this big city with trade and all sorts of stuff happening. Of course someone jotted a map down at some point, right? They have signs. If they have signs, how could they not have a map? You know what I mean? Of course. So in that same kind of vein, the person who digs in the dead guy's pockets first is going to be the one who knows what's in those pockets first, you know? So I don't want to break the immersion with a quality of life thing, you know? Quality of life, I feel, can only exist if it's in line with how this would play out if this were real, essentially, right? Like, I want my brain to feel as much as possible as if I'm in this world. You know, I want Sword Art Online. You know what I mean? I want to be in there,
Oh,
you
I
know?
love it.
So
Yeah.
that's my thoughts.
Absolutely, yeah. No, that's great, and it's nice. They already added. I think you can link items anyway, right? Which Pantheon
Yeah.
didn't have that. Pantheon kind of follows the more.
Don't get me started, man.
Yeah, yeah. No, but that's funny. So Quatos looted a corpse and just kind of stood there. So he's already looting it, so you can't loot it. And he hyped it up like it would be some item, and you were excited. Then he backed
Yeah.
off, and that wasn't there. Nice, nice.
Yeah, it was something
That's
like that. I can't remember
that,
the exact details, but it
that
wasn't just like Q being a jerk. Like there was a good reason as to why, and like it was really funny. It was hilarious, you know.
nice. Yeah. Now, what about chat bubbles? How do you feel about chat bubbles popping over people's heads, World of Warcraft style? I'm of the opinion that we should not have that as well. I think it's kind of very distracting. It's just like a big black box that just kind of floats in the screen. And then if you want to troll or like type a bunch of stuff, you can just create like a giant one, kind of follow people around. I don't know.
Yeah.
I actually like the UI. A lot of people criticize the UI, but it's surprisingly customizable. It really is. You can make it like vertical, horizontal. You can, have that little XP box by your other stuff. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, I love seeing people's UIs too and how different everyone ends up setting it up. You know, like you get some people that just build on the walls, like they're on the left and the right, and the middle's clear. Some people like I like to do all along the bottom. And there's some
Yeah.
people that just have a bunch of stuff right in the middle of the screen. You know, it's funny to see everyone's UIs, and yeah, I totally agree. It's very customizable. Um, eh, Chat bubbles, I don't see why they're necessary. It's funny because I've always said this. I always tell people I'm never gonna read the chat because when I'm streaming and playing, I've already got chat, and I've got all this other stuff going on that for me to read the in-game group chat is like impossible. Like I just can't. I can't keep up with it. There's no way. And I always laugh about it. Like someone will tell me something in group chat. I'm like, I'm never gonna read that, man. Like I can't focus on all the things at once. So for that reason, chat bubbles would be a nice quality of life, but it's just too essentially immersion breaking again, where it's just like this big thing in the way and yeah, like people trolling with it too. Like I remember a time on Pantheon when I was playing it early on, someone decided, someone who didn't like me from stream, I don't know who, right? Someone decided they're going to troll me while I'm playing. And this was before Pantheon had a block feature. There was
Oh,
no slash block, right? So no matter what you did, people could just talk to you. So I was sitting outside of a dungeon with a group, and this guy comes up and just keeps talking so much trash, and I minimize like the chat box. Like I was like, well, I'll just move my chat box out of the way. Now what? I can't see it anymore. But it had the bubbles, right? Because Pantheon had some bubbles too, right? I believe. And that was still just bop, bop, bop. Like I couldn't get away from them. So um I
wow.
don't think we need bubbles.
Yeah,
It
I'm
it
with
doesn't
you.
really fit into the style of the game either. Like it's a very pixely, but it's like a realistic style. Like everything looks real in its own Monsters and Memories way, So I don't think it really fits.
I got you. Yeah, I'm with you. I tend to agree. Yeah, I tend to agree for sure. I mean, unless you want to add anything or kind of circle back on anything else regarding Monsters and Memories, that's mostly the questions that I have. I was curious, so as an enchanter, did you get a chance to do any like fun charming or any kind of like, were you able to like charm a giant, let's say, or did you kind of go out and kind of test the capabilities of the class up to level 40 or so? You've played more than most people. Like you've gotten farther than most people. Is there anything kind of interesting out there that you feel like sharing? If you don't want to spoil anything too deep, no, absolutely no pressure at all, but just curious.
Yeah, I'm not a detail-oriented guy, so I'm sure I won't spoil anything for anyone. I've definitely done some really cool stuff with the Enchanter. The majority of my leveling experience was in a full group, so it's very different.
Hmm.
And because I couldn't play as hard as like Q had taken like time off from work, some stuff I couldn't do, you know what I mean? So
Hmm.
I couldn't keep up with everyone. So I was always kind of a lower level enchanter, which is tough because your stuff doesn't land. Your spells don't land. You know what I mean? So then now I was limited in what I could do for a lot of the playtime. But whenever I got a chance, I would go solo, and I definitely soloed a lot. I did a lot of duoing. I duoed with my buddy who was a fighter, and we killed beetles for days. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I have charmed giants. I have charmed drakes. I think they were only technically. I've charmed really big drakes. Maybe not a dragon yet, but there was a really big drake. You know, it was probably borderline. So yeah, I've had a great time, and it's very similar to classic EverQuest in that you can do some really crazy stuff. You know, like I can charm a red and go kill another red,
Wow.
but if that goes sour, you know, I'm probably done. You know, you need an exit plan at all times, and you can't sneeze. You know, you
Yeah.
cannot sneeze. You know, it's
Yeah.
that kind of touch and go with stuff. So yeah, I think the Enchanter is super cool, super powerful. But they also added other elements so you don't have to play the Enchanter like just an Enchanter. They added and I think this is important too for like people that are like considering the game and like want to look at the class. They added a spell that you can only cast if you don't have a charmed pet, and it's a buff, and it can be put onto your tank to give them a bunch of HP, like a lot, like a significant amount,
Oh, interesting.
along with a free rune and a little attack that you can do like from them. So it actually has 3 components. 1, you can see through their eyes. 2, you can cast a rune on them. It's all free, it doesn't cost any mana. And 3, you can do a direct damage instant nuke. So you're having these 3 new buttons to press, and it's all coming from your ally rather than from you. Like the actual projectile comes out of them.
Oh,
And
very interesting.
if you're in a situation where like, hey guys, like I'm like maybe I had like a baby, like I'm watching my kid, I can't really charm anything right now. You know what I mean? Which is a big problem for enchanters. Like I remember this being on P99 when you get an enchanter and they didn't have a charm pet. It was like, what are you doing, bud? Like, you know, like go get a pet, like, you know, give us the DPS, you know, you're like wasting our time, you know? So that gives you a way to play the enchanter in a much more laid back, casual, more similar to a mage or something, or an elementalist, you know, where you have your summon pet that's not going to turn on you and beat you up at any given second. You've got this new rune on your tank to give them a bunch more HP and all this stuff. And you're still effective. You're still effective without having to play this one type of way, which I think it's a subtle but massive change to the class. You know, one of them. There's a number of them, but that one spell I think really changes the class, and doesn't change the class, but gives you multiple avenues to be viable. Whether solo, you can use that solo as well. You can put it on your little pet. You can summon the Shadowkin pet, you know, like the little free one that's not a charm, and put that on it, and then now all of a sudden he's not such a weak little guy, you know? So it's fun, it's very powerful, and it can do a lot of cool stuff. I would definitely recommend playing the Enchanter if you liked it in like classic EverQuest, or if you just want a class that's very versatile and impactful.
That's awesome. Yeah, that sounds really interesting. That's beautiful. You know, it's there's so much variety in the classes, you know, and even like the races, all that, how that's going to get incorporated together. It's really funny. Like a question I get asked a lot is like, "Hey, what class should I play like on this game?" I mean, I don't know. Whatever you want. It's that
Yeah,
that's the beauty of it, you know. Everything is viable. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's all the monsters and memories questions that I had. Then finally, what I like to just kind of end it with is if you could just bottle up a message and send it to the devs, what would you tell them?
Um, stick to your guns. Stick to your guns. And great
Beautiful.
job. You're
Beautiful.
killing it, but stick to your guns. Yeah.
I feel the same way. I feel the same way. Well, if we have time, so I do have just a couple things I wanted to ask you. I wanted to touch on your friendship with Quatos. I think it's a really
Yeah.
beautiful and interesting thing. So you guys play together a lot, obviously, and so how did you guys link up? What is kind of like the origin story there?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I had been streaming very regularly. All I did was, for the most part, was stream EverQuest. for a couple years. Hadn't met Q yet. And Q came onto the EverQuest streaming scene. This was prior to him being a partnered streamer. But he was still pretty considerable, he was still a ways ahead of me as far as like viewership numbers and things like that, right? And he came into the EverQuest community, and I had seen him around. I first popped into his stream, and he was doing chessboard camp. And I don't know, is that Lesser Fay? I'm not sure where that is. He was doing chessboard camp.
That's a cool one. I think it's in Butcher Block Mountains there before you get to
there you go.
Greater Feydark. Yeah.
He was doing that camp. And I was just like surprised because it was a new EverQuest streamer, right? Because I thought I knew everyone already. I was like, who's this guy? You know what I mean? I didn't know if it was on a different time of the day. And I popped in, and it just like, hey, it said hey. And I'm not sure what happened first either. Q could probably tell you this exactly better than I can. But I had popped into his stream, seen him like once. I had seen him around in like a couple like EverQuest chats, like all within the span of a couple days. And then I was doing a stream with Level Up Larry. I had done an EverQuest trio stream with Level Up Larry and shoot, I can't remember who the third person was, but he was on his, I think he had an Enchanter. And I basically, the mission was, let's see if we can get all the way down to Yale in the hole with just 3 dudes. So we were trying to make our way there, killing stuff, charming others, pacifying, just doing a dungeon crawl just for fun, 3 people only. I was on my wizard. So it was Enchanter, wizard, and I'm not sure what the other one was, but we had our little challenge. I had set up a little challenge mode for us. So we were doing that, and Q, like his car had broken down or something, and he was stranded. Like his car had broken down, and he was stranded at some gas station, and he popped into my chat, and he was like, hey, dude. And I'm probably totally butchering this story. I bet Q's going to crack up when he sees it because it's probably all out of order and jumbled. But he was stranded at this gas station, and he was like, what's up, dude? I was like, oh, like, welcome in. Like, how are you doing? And he told me his situation. Like, yeah, I'm like going to be sitting at this gas station for 3 hours. What's going on with you guys? He had, I think, just recently met Level Up Larry, too. So, like, it was like, oh, we're all kind of just, doing socializing, right? And so he was in my chat for most of that day because he, again, stranded at a gas station. So he was in chat like a lot, like he had nothing to do. So, we were going back and forth. And then he happened to mention that he had a cleric on P99. And every Friday night, I was doing these like little mini raids, right? Of like bringing people out, and we try to go do I would come up with a new challenge every week. Mm-hmm. And the problem we always had was there's no cleric. So he tells me, oh, hey, turns out I actually have a cleric who's, I think he was like level 50 or level 49 at the time, cap on P99 being 60. And I was, are you kidding me? Like, dude, we need you for Friday. We need, this was like a Tuesday or Wednesday. I was like, I need you this Friday. Like, you'll come out, we'll have a good time. And I explained to him what was going on. And he was in, like, he was game, right? And I was like, I don't know if he was going to show up or not, but he did. He was there. And we hit it off immediately. You know what I mean? Because we're just both like, I mean, he was just a cool dude. Like, I don't even know. Like, at that point, I didn't have too much thought about it. He was just a cool dude, So we were getting along, and he was like, I remember he was just like, the trouble I'd always have was, oh, people would leave. They didn't want to take this faction hit. It's too late. These are valid concerns. I'm not saying you can't go to bed, but it's too late. I got to go. I got to do this. And I just remember everyone had gone, but he was just still there. Like, yeah, what's up, dude? And he's also like this great personality and lively. And I'm like, man, this is you know what I mean? Like, this is amazing. Usually it's one or the other. Like, they're either this really great personality or they're this really great gamer. And he was like both. He like knew how to play. He knew everything. He had a cleric, which was like the most sought after thing for us at the time. And he's also just super fun and lively and active, and we're joking and having a good time. So we hit it off right away. And then it was like, I was doing this Friday night thing. Always, we were doing Friday nights. So he would start coming out every Friday. Every Friday he'd be there, and he'd always just be like trying to support the cause. You know what I mean? Like right away, he'd be like trying to get the stream going, trying to get chat hyped, trying to help in the game, trying to help gather people, organize people, explain something to someone, pull them, whatever it was, right? He was just like
he was already fully in line with my goals and what I was trying to do just from day one. Like, he got it. He's a streamer too, right? So he gets it. He understands what's going on. And he was just right away. It was just like, boom. Like, literally, we played that first Friday and then every Friday since, basically. Like, literally, basically that. Like, not even exaggerating. Like, we played that first Friday. This was years ago. I guess like 2 years ago. And then we played every week from then until now, and we just haven't stopped. Like, we just haven't stopped. And then Eminem's gonna come on. We're gonna play together like 5 days a week. Like, we're gonna see and hear more of each other than we ever have before once Eminem comes out. But every Friday, and then he was doing a thing on Thursdays. He was doing like the Soulbound group, so I would hang out with him on Thursdays. He was doing the Soulbound group, and then I feel like there was another fun thing he was doing on Thursdays as well. So I would play with him every Thursday and Friday for like a big span of time too. So it was 2 days a week that we were just locked in with each other. And at this point now, like, we hang out off stream too. You know what I mean? Like, we're just like, he's one of my best friends. Like, he's legitimately one of my best friends. You know, like, he's just a great dude, man. Like, I freaking love Q. Like, I love the dude. Like, through and through, I love the dude. He's seen good and bad sides of me, and like, he gets it. Like, he's an extremely understanding dude. Helpful, obviously, right? Like, I'm sure you got that vibe from him. He's like all about trying to help people and stuff, which, you know, obviously good, you know. And yeah, he's just all around. He's just the Chad, man. Like, I don't know what to. I don't know how to. He's just a great dude. Like, I love gaming with him. He's a fun dude to talk to, but he's also like I could, like, if I had like a stressful like problem, like, he would probably be one of the first people I thought of to, like, dude, I need to talk to someone. Like, he's legitimately a good dude. You know, we hung out. We went and got drinks. He came to LA one time, and we went and partied till like 2 a.m. or whatever. It was great. You know.
Man,
we're so funny. We're so funny as friends because Q is like 7 feet tall and I'm like 5'0" and fat. So we're like the Blues Brothers out there. You know what I mean? We're literally the Blues Brothers of EverQuest, I think.
That's amazing. Yeah, I've heard. No, that makes me feel better because I'm kind of in the same boat. You look great, by the way. But yeah, I'm like 5'8" ish. But yeah, dude, no, that's great. I've heard he's a tall guy. Yeah, and it's great. And I agree with you completely. He's really charismatic guy, excellent energy, extremely helpful, like, you know, very friendly. It's great. I've had nothing but great interactions with him. And actually, even, I mean, just like you, we're talking now for the first time. But I talked to him once, and I needed some advice on something, and I was like, "Hey man, do you mind if I just like call you real quick on Discord, like 5 minutes?" And he was super busy, but he took the time, and I really appreciate him. You know, he's definitely amazing personality as well. Do you have like
walk you through anything?
Yeah, and very helpful with like stream settings, like sound settings, you know, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, this has got that teacher energy, as he says. So yeah,
he's got that big teacher energy. Yeah, big teacher energy, and just like he's also like he just has a good way of just laying things out. You know what I mean? Like, okay, well, what are your goals with this? Like, I've talked with him about like bigger picture, like streaming goals, and like what should I be going for and thinking about and doing differently or doing the same, or how do I even determine what, you know, all this, you know. And he's just got it clear. He doesn't have all the answers. No one does, but he has a very clear way of like kind of just like, okay, well, let's talk through it. I guess it's, you know, at the end of the day, being a teacher, of being like, okay, well, let's just talk this out and see where we get to, you know. And I think from a streaming standpoint, me and Q are like perfect because we're almost polar opposites. We like all the same things, but we're polar opposites in every other way. So we're like,
interesting.
Yeah, it's hard to explain, you know what I mean? But if you watch, you'll see it. You know, we like all the same stuff. The same type of games, same type of things, talk about the same type of stuff, laugh at the same things, all the same, but exact opposites, you know. So it's like I'll get lost all the time. Like, this is the obvious example. I get lost all the time, and Q knows like how my brain works well enough that I can just ask him some random incoherent question and he'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, well, we won't be talking about anything. I'm like, hey Q, is it is it the 2 stair or the door? Like just some random thing like that. You know, like it. Hey Q, at the big thing, did you hit the right? Like I'll literally say those words, like verbatim. At the big thing, did you hit the right? He'll know what the big thing is. He'll know what I would think is the big thing, and he'd be like, yeah, the right. You know, and then he'll go back to like whatever he's doing. So I'm always lost, and he's always like, will just like point me in the right direction. And then like the other thing, and I've like Q's talked about this too, is like on the flip side of that, like I might keep a conversation lively or switch things to another way. You know, I just bring a very different type of energy to other things. You know, he's the power gamer of the two of us. I'm there for the good time, you know, and but we're both we both want to succeed. You know what I mean? We both want to succeed. Me saying I'm not a power gamer, I want to win. You know, I want to win, but it, you know, very different, just very different angles. And I just, man, it's I love that dude. Like we hit it off. You know what I mean? Like I feel like we really meshed. Like, you know, couldn't be better. Couldn't be better.
I love it. That's perfect. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. That's pretty much all you hope for, you know. And it's this doesn't have to be exactly Quatos related, but in general, like what makes a good group member to you? Like if you guys, I know Jelly Sound. He's in my guild in Monsters and Memories. XV as well.
Okay.
I've seen him around. I can't remember who else was there, but I was basically watching his streams while you guys were playing. But what makes a good group member in your eyes? What do you love seeing in a group? Is it just like good camaraderie, just good vibes all around, just highly efficient players that are like amazing at their roles? What kind of keeps that energy going? Because I notice you guys go for 9, 10, 11 hours plus. You know, I love it. How do you stay motivated?
How me and Jelly know each other? I'm just curious. Do you know how me and Jelly know each other?
Actually, I do not, but I'd be very interested.
So me and Jelly played D&D together.
Oh.
I met him completely outside of the MMO world because he came into my D&D campaign because he's friends with the girl that got that going, and we wanted another player, you know. So he came into my D&D campaign, no knowledge of EverQuest. He was just a WoW player. No knowledge of M&M, nothing. He came in, we just played D&D, and then, you know, we started talking, being an MMO guys and stuff. And I always tried to get him into EverQuest. I remember there's one night drunk, I sent him the P99 files. I was like, go ahead and install it. You know, your time has come. You know, he did get it installed too. He played a little bit with us, but so yeah, he was from D&D. And then when he saw, like, he met Q and like saw M&M, and I think it's Q that sold him on it, because Q does such a good job of really presenting the game, you know.
Absolutely.
And so then he was like, we're gonna try it out, and like he's even like dipped his toes into P99 just for fun, you know. And so I met Jelly through D&D, which is so funny. And now he's right there in it, you know. Like Jelly's like one, like he doesn't stream EQ, but he's like he's an M&M streamer, right? Like Jelly is now like he's right in there, you know what I mean? It's
awesome.
So cool to me.
That's really
Jelly's
cool.
a great guy too. I love Jelly. I love Jelly.
Yeah,
I played 2 D&D campaigns with him.
He's a really nice guy. Yeah, he's awesome. Yeah, for sure. That's really cool. I didn't know that.
It's funny, right? Yeah, it's super funny that it all. I started seeing him in. Are you familiar with Dirty Old Socks?
I am.
Another EQ streamer. Yeah, so he. I started seeing him in Dirty Old Socks' chat because he played WoW and stuff too, and I was like, whoa, like. Jelly, you know, because I just knew it from D&D. Like, oh, you're here, you know, like you're, like we know the same people now. You know what I mean? So it's super cool. As far as what makes a good group mate, and I feel what I want is very different from what others want, but I do feel I'm a good person to answer this question because again, for like 4 years or something, I've been doing this Friday night thing, and I'm trying to curate a group of people always, and dealing with so many people. I've had people block me and leave over items, or, you know what I mean? Like all sorts of weird things occurred in those 4 years. And I learned a lot about people meshing and, you know, what you need and what you don't need, or what you need to avoid. And I think what makes a good group mate is someone that's there for a good time. We all obviously want our pixels, you know, everyone wants the shiny stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's the result of the game. But
some people are actually there for those things, and then I feel there becomes a conflict of interest, because if we're, you know, the way you can play for 11 hours is by being loose, you know what I mean? It's like, if we're, you know, at this camp and we realize, oh man, wouldn't it be cool if we went and just screwed around over there for a minute? Like, let's just go see what's in there. If you're not there for a good time, no, you know, we have
Yeah.
to, the spawn's gonna, you know, wait, like, you know, we gotta kill the thing, we're gonna get the item, you know, and it's, that can be kind of problematic, I think, at least for my play style. But I think just in general, it's a good thing to be there for the fun. And I think a good example of this is, if you're at all familiar with the game Sea of Thieves. It's a pirate game, but you're basically a game of, you never get anything. Like, none of the loot is real. Like, it's all cosmetic, and you're basically the same thing every time you go out there, no matter what. And the goal of the game is to get loot, to get treasure. That's the end goal. That's the thing you're going for. But really, it's just about having a fun time in the moment. You know what I mean? It's really just about the experience of it. You know, I think you want to find people that are in it for the same reasons as you. And for me, that's to have fun. And if you find those people, then no matter what you do, you know, if you all die and there's a corpse run, rather than everyone being really upset about it because we've lost 40 minutes of time in our, you know, and we might lose the camp, it's more like, how much fun can we have getting back there to get our bodies? You know, how can we make this enjoyable? You know, and then doesn't matter what happens. I don't care what class, level, you know, and none of that matters. You know what I mean? If you're there to have fun, then we probably will. You know, we probably will.
And I love that. I love that. That's amazing. And then on the inverse of that, what's the fastest way that someone can ruin a group's vibe?
Telling another player how to play. Telling another player to you know, to do something. You know what I mean? I've had that happen before. Why are you not, you know, why aren't you doing this? You know, and it's like, you know, there's tactful ways to suggest things, of course. I'm not going to say you can't do that. But yeah, probably the fastest way is jump into a group and tell them all how to play. You'll get out of there pretty quick.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, no, that's really cool. You guys seem like a really tight-knit group of friends, and, you know, you just have a good time. In my mind, I just thought, well, you know, these are guys that probably just went like really hard on the play test, and they're probably the highest level around, and that's just who you have to group with. Because, you know, like, for just to circle back on the Monsters of Memory stuff, I just feel like I'm kind of in this weird area now where it's like most people are either they pushed really hard and they're like in their, you know, 40s, 50s, or they're just like leveling alts and just kind of hanging out. And with my time, I just kind of got to like mid 20s or so, and then it just got a little bit tough to find a group. I just figured you guys were just the higher level players and all just kind of got together just because. But it's really cool that you knew Jelly Sound and obviously Quatos before going into the game. So that's really fun.
Yeah. And Jelly's a power gamer too, man. Like, he was like 3 or 4 play tests late. Like, we're already like level 30 or something, and
Oh,
Jelly is
wow.
now like 5 levels ahead of me, dude. Like, he blew past me. So he's he's killing it. And and a lot of those people too that were in there, I guess like a couple of them, like XV. I think XV we actually knew from Pantheon, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh,
I
wow.
think a lot of them came from other games too, and we were all just gonna experience this new game. And you know, Q does a great job of bringing people together, and kind of got this core group, me being one of those people. And hey, what class is everyone going to play? And like, we started off hard, like I told you, you know, getting trying to get to Wormsbane as fast and get ahead of the pack, so we're not in, you know, fighting for a single spawn. And from there, it was just like, let's just keep playing this way. You know what I mean? Let's just stay in our static group and
I
keep
love
doing
it.
it.
I love it. Yeah, it's gonna be cool to enjoy the streams, and while also enjoying the game myself. And yeah, it's great. It's great. And shout out to XV as well. He's my rogue inspiration, if you will. I think he's the highest level rogue
Nice.
that I know. So yeah, shout out to XV. Okay, well now I'd like to. Are you good on time? I don't want to dig into your
Yeah.
stream time here. There's just
No,
a
I still got
couple.
another hour, so we can do a bit more.
Oh, perfect. I wanted to ask you about JRPGs. So I noticed that you like JRPGs as well. Noticed you're a huge fan of Chrono Trigger, which is like one of the games that changed my life. You know, I never got a chance to play it. I always kind of heard the stories, and I got it in that. I think it's like that special release that they did for PlayStation 1. I think it had Chrono
Okay,
Trigger and also Final Fantasy 4, I think it was. But
interesting.
what made you fall in love with that genre on top of
Yeah,
MMOs and everything else? What's your JRPG story there?
yeah. My JRPG story started with Final Fantasy VII for sure. I had probably played JRPG style games here and there, but Final Fantasy VII was the first one. This was another, funnily enough, my friend's house. He was the one that had it.
Hmm.
He was my neighbor though, so we played. We both had our own Final Fantasy VII saves on his, on his memory card or whatever, and we would take turns playing. Eventually, at some point, we both just kind of locked in on his save, and we would both like share the control, take turns sharing the controller and stuff.
Hmm.
Or we would even do like, all right, like I'm Barrett. You know what I mean? Like when it's Barrett's turn to attack, I'll tell you what I want to do. You know what I mean? Like I'll play as that one character. So like it was like to keep it fun for everyone. But it didn't even matter who had the controller. The story, man, like that game made me want so emotional. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I never felt attached to a game like that before. And I would played all the games. You know what I mean? I'd done all sorts of games, but the Final Fantasy VII story was just like, man, I remember as a kid, I would keep restarting the game after you got out of Midgard because I just wanted to be back in Midgard because the feeling of like, oh, just being in that city and like, you're trying to like stop these like oppressors and, um, the I guess again another feeling of like hopelessness, right? Like in the
Yeah.
beginning, it's very like this huge corporation, and you're just fringe group, but like they're gonna bring a plate down and kill everyone. I was like, oh my, how could they do that? You know what I mean? And it
Yeah.
was just like I was so drawn into that, just that sadness and that emotion and that um feeling from the beginning of the game that I would always restart. I'd always restart, go back to Midgard because I just wanted to
Hmm.
go back to like the little park with the little cat play place and like, you know what I mean? I would always
Yeah.
restart my save because I just loved living that. It didn't feel like I was repeating a game every time. It felt like a unique experience. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so Final Fantasy VII, I fell in love with it. We beat the game. We beat Sephiroth. We saved the day. Um, and then me with that friend went on a tangent through like uh, Jade Cocoon. There's so many games. Star Ocean, Jade Cocoon, Star Ocean, Legend of Legaia, uh, maybe some Breath of Fire stuff. A bunch of different games.
Wow.
JRPGs. I played a couple with him, and then I moved and had another set of friends that lived nearby, and there were these Chinese dudes, and they would go. They were Taiwanese, sorry, and they would go to they would go down to Little China or Chinatown, and there was a game store there that would crack the PlayStation. So like they'd put a chip in it so it could play Japanese and Chinese titles, and then you could buy games for like 30 cents. So they
Wow.
had all the games, but they were all in Chinese. So I played so many JRPGs in Chinese just because I was addicted to the play style.
Yeah.
And I couldn't read anything, obviously. You know what I mean? But I would just boop, 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 press the button
Yeah.
and then try to figure out where to go. And, I played a ton of weird games that probably, I don't even know what they were called. No one's ever heard of them, but I played a bunch of stuff there. And that kind of, I remember playing Final Fantasy VIII and Final Fantasy IX in my house as a teenager, that would just turn on the game. I would turn on the game, lay on my floor, and put my head on like my bed, like I had a lower bed, and I would just lay there all day, 12 hours. I could just sit there and just
Yeah.
playing through the Final Fantasy VIII or Final Fantasy IX story. And yeah, it just was, they were just huge parts of my life, like, huge parts of my life as it just in general. There a lot of time spent alone playing these games, right? They're generally in alone, like, my initial thing with
Yeah.
friends or whatever, but a
Yeah.
lot of alone time and a lot of like formative hours of
Yeah.
my personality and my life and my feelings and my emotions are all tied to these different games. And similar, like you said, like we're all chasing this like nostalgia. Um, it just is like
it's like a geyser of nostalgia for me to go back and play these games. You know, it's just so much of my formative childhood years were locked into these games by myself, with my own thoughts, with my own opinions on what's happening, and like memories of these stories and how they made me feel then versus how I feel about them now. And I just love like what my whole like gimmick on stream is. I'm on a quest to beat every JRPG in the world. I'm just going to beat every single one. So I've been doing this for, I don't know, I've probably had almost close to 40 to 50 streams now of working towards this, beating game after I did 7, 8, 9, and a handful of others, right? So I'm trying to beat all of them. Like that's kind of my plan. I want to beat I want it 10 years from now to be able to say, yeah, I beat every JRPG. I beat all of them. Like I you know, I don't know if this is ever going to happen or not, but I like them enough that I want to do that, you know?
I love that. I love that so much, man. Yeah, that was a really beautiful way to put it. And I'm kind of with you. I didn't play as many as you did, but obviously the Final Fantasy series, Xenogears was a big one that I really love, Chrono Trigger. And man, I gotta tell you, I'm with you there. Like I love these like social interactions and social experiences in MMOs. But I was at, you know, I mean, like I'm gonna come from an immigrant family originally. We didn't have a whole lot, and I actually just have random memory. My dad, we had a PlayStation 2 back in the day. And, you know, PlayStation 2 could play PS1 games. I never had PS1. I just kind of missed out on that. But so I got Final Fantasy 7, the greatest hits, and I didn't have a memory card. They didn't get all the stuff with it. So I didn't have a memory card. So I would play Final Fantasy 7, and I would go as far as I could. And I would just like try to leave it on as much as I could, go to school, come back, play it. But I'm kind of have a similar story where I played that first section of Midgard just over and over again, and there's just something so beautiful about the music, like because you know before games like you have like Mario and like all that other stuff, and it's great too, but man, like something really captures like this like human emotion. Somehow I found it so sad but also just very beautiful in a way, like those games and those stories. And I gotta say, I probably wouldn't be the person that I am today if I never played through them. Like 6, 7, and 8 are really, really good. Chrono Trigger, Xenogears, those are probably like my top. Parasite Eve, I also really like Parasite Eve. And man, to this
Just beat
day,
that. I
this
just beat it.
the soundtrack, I love the soundtracks, man. Like it's just perfect. It's just perfect. And you know, this might not be, I wanted to see what you think about this. Well, how do you feel about the remake? How do you we're in this era of like remakes and remasters. Did you enjoy the Final Fantasy VII remake as someone who really loved the original? I personally didn't, but I'm just curious if you did or not.
Yeah,
We don't have to go too deep into it, but just curious.
sure. I did not love the remake. No, I've only played the first one. I own the second one, but I haven't played it. That's what actually sent me down the road of I'm gonna beat every JRPG. Actually, I wanted to play all three of them. So, firstly, to answer the question, nah, not really. But because it's the story that I love, I'm gonna play them all. Right? Like I want to beat all of them. If I'm not mistaken, there's a third one we're still waiting on. Could be years for that
Yep.
final one, right? So
Hmm.
when all three of them come out, I'm gonna play through all of them. You know,
Okay.
when it happens, you know, I'll play through the first two, time up the date, so I finish Rebirth whenever the third one comes out. Like I plan to do that, but honestly, no, I didn't really love it. I was like, why are you giving me side quests? That's not the type of game that this is. You know, like why is there like a menu like go to the side quest board and take the
Yeah.
3 side quests to go. I was like, no, like what is this? You know what I mean? This is
Yeah.
like, you know, it felt like I was playing Pokemon or something, which hey, love Pokemon, but like, you know, come on, what is this?
Yeah.
So no, I didn't love it, but I don't care about the gameplay. I just want to see the story. And I think that's really why we love these games, right? Like the gameplay's cool or whatever. It's strategic and you have your people and they do their things and you outfit them. Cool or whatever, but I mean it's, you know, it's really the story that you're playing these games for. So I'm gonna play the remake just to see the story because I already know they're changing it, but just based on playing the first one, it's different. So
Yeah.
I want to see what in what way, you know. But I want to play them all as one solid thing. I think it's a crime that they split into 3 games, but you know what are you gonna
Okay.
do?
Beautiful. Yeah, no, I'm with you. Yeah, totally with you. And I just gotta ask, Tifa or Eris? Which one do you lean towards?
Oh, brother, come on, man. Oh, man. Me, okay. When I was 13, I was Eris.
Oh, interesting.
When I was 16, I was Tifa.
I gotcha. I
And
gotcha.
now I'm not sure. I could do either. I'd take, it's like a,
I'm on
I
that.
love them both now.
I'm on Team Tifa all the way. I was just always there
Tifa?
from the get go.
Tifa's bad, dude. I mean, she's so cool with the boxing,
She's a great character though too. She gets a lot of, like obviously she's sexualized or whatever, but she's actually a very important character to the story. She really is. She kind of helps Cloud kind of reconstruct his memories, and it's a whole thing. So, yeah, just curious. She's an amazing character. Yeah, shout out to Tifa. I was just curious there.
It just really broke my heart when, my first time seeing that Eris got killed. Like truly, like
Oh,
I've never been mad at a video game character the way I was mad at Sephiroth for
absolutely.
that. You know what I mean? Like truly furious.
Hmm.
So that's why I think originally it was Eris. On my initial playthroughs, it was Eris because I
Hmm.
remember how upset I was when they killed her, and I would always go Eris on like the choices, right? Because
Yeah. And you know what though? Actually,
you're yeah.
oh, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, no, not at all, not at all. I was just saying, you're at that when I'm really young, you have these kind of notions of like good and bad, and it's
Yeah.
very black and white. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So Eris was very much good. Tifa was not bad, but Eris was the one that was pure good and
Yeah.
just a sweetheart. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it was like
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I that's where I went. And then you get a little older, you get a little wiser, and
But man, isn't it amazing? It can kind of, in a way, it can kind of tie into your love and passion for like, just kind of difficulty in the in games. Like for example, it's something that it happens. You can't go back. You can't take that away. It is what it is. And it's such a beautiful story because we know it just explores that like loss, and that sense of danger that you're in, and how like the gravity of the situation, like, oh man, this major character died, now what, like what do we do? I love that. That was one of the first games where it just kind of hit me. It was done so
yeah, and
beautifully.
it's I think the kind of resounding theme of everything we're talking about here, as far as what we like and what makes us feel good and feel special, or make these games feel special, is they make you feel small. In Final
Yeah.
Fantasy, yes, you do win at the end, but through that whole game, you feel it's the enormity of the situation around you. Like, oh my god, Shinra controls everything. Like, oh, how are we gonna do this? The whole game, and that's like Eminem. Like, the world is so big, and you're gonna die if you go anywhere. Everywhere is dangerous, and it's just bigger than you can handle.
Yeah.
But I have this on my I say this all the time on stream. A JRPG is a game where a group of teenagers save the world from some enormous god. Like that's
Oh
what they
yeah.
all are, right? It's like against all odds succeeding, and that's, I think, what Final Fantasy 7 did, and 8, and Xenogears. They make the world seem so huge, and the challenge is insurmountable, and somehow you pull it out, right? And that's what Monsters and Memories has achieved as a MMO, and that's, I think, that it's the same thing that makes me go back to Final Fantasy 7 again and again, because it's just that feeling of everything, just
Yeah.
everything around you is huge.
Yeah.
And Xenogears, by the way, fantastic game. I loved
Yeah,
Xenogears.
it's incredible. I got it there. I kind of have like a little collection behind me. That's pretty much all the games I ever had as a kid, and that's one of my most prized possessions. Yeah, I love that I got a chance to experience that game for sure. The music really stays with me from that as well. And it's amazing. Like a lot of these games, I heard the music just one time or maybe just a couple times, like 20 years ago. I still just remember that music. It's just beautiful. And yeah, I have
Yeah, I'm playing
memories
that one
tied with
soon.
it.
I'm going back to Xeno
Oh, nice,
soon.
nice. I'll definitely tune in for that for sure. Interesting.
Yeah, thank you.
So, just to kind of tie it into streaming, you're obviously, you're an established streamer in the space, very like amazing gear and like audio quality, all that stuff is amazing. So, whenever you play games like this that are kind of more story driven, let's say, Have you like so basically dealing with? I haven't been into too many situations like this, but have you ever gotten to a situation where someone from the chat has spoiled something for you, like mid playthrough, or just to be a troll? You know, you have any stories like that?
Less
How did
so, yeah, yeah, less so spoil, but more so just tell you what to do next. So kind of spoil the puzzle, not so much the result, like, oh, by the way, Aerith dies, not like that. But,
yeah.
I haven't had that bad. I haven't had it that bad yet. It's usually they're coming from a place of wanting to help because they know the game so well. And it's kind of like, it's funny. I always find this so funny because, like, as a streamer, I'm playing a game. You speak while you're doing the things you speak, right? You speak your
Hmm.
thoughts out loud.
Hmm.
How do I get this door open? And then without fail, there's someone in chat that's like, I will answer that question. But it was like, I didn't want an answer to that. I'm just doing my
Yeah.
streamer thing of, uh, uh, speaking my thoughts so you guys can know what's going on. I'm not just sitting here quietly playing a game, So I always laugh at that kind of funny dynamic of, some people always think that you're talking directly at them. Oh
Hmm.
man, I wonder if we did this thing, if that would cause this to happen, right? Like Chrono Trigger. Like, oh, I wonder if we go back and help these little dinosaur guys, would it then cause things to change in the future? And then someone's like, no, and it's like, "Ah, come on, you know what I mean? Or yes, and it's like, ah. So
Yeah.
I definitely had that. I've had some bad situations. I remember playing I played Digimon World. I don't know if you're familiar with this game, but it's an old PS1 game.
Nah.
I remember just getting nailed by chat. Well, it's an old, really difficult game, RPG kind of style, and I remember just getting nailed by chat because they were telling me what to do, and it got to the point that I felt like they were yelling at me, like, "Are you stupid? Like, do you not understand how to go to the door and then turn right and fight the thing?" And like whatever this complex thing I was supposed to do was.
Yeah.
Uh, and I hate it. You know what I mean? I hate it. I don't want anyone to tell me how. So, but never too. Yeah. As you stream more and more, you get a handle on it and understanding how to, um, peacefully and calmly get across your message of, I don't necessarily want the help, but also
Hmm.
sometimes I don't mind it. Like
Yeah.
if I'm playing Final Fantasy VII, I'm passing by some really cool item that I don't know about. If they're like, dude, you can get a badass item if you just go back there. I'm like, oh, thank you. Like, I don't mind that at all.
Yeah.
But when they're like, you should go straight from here to this house and then go in there and then you go up there to start the next portion of the story and then come back and then go there. And it's just like, I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
Never
No,
too bad though.
that's great.
Never too bad. I think I got a handle on it now, but there were some times.
And I will say most people are generally good. And like you said, it comes from a place of help or whatever. And I mean,
Yeah, they
even
all want to help.
to your point, it kind of goes the same. Like, how would you ruin the vibe in an MMO group? It would be, yeah, telling someone how to play and what to play. I mean, and hey, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm all for like constructive criticism. I want to play my class to the best that I can. I'm happy to try new things. But yeah, I'm with you there. It's yeah, it just sucks when someone's kind of backseating, as it were. So just like some streaming and community questions here as we kind of wrap up, because I know you have a stream that you don't want to get to, and I don't want to eat up too much of your time. So, you've been around for a while in streaming. So what made you start streaming?
Um, so I originally started streaming. This was way back in like uh 2012.
Oh wow, okay.
Originally, right? This was a long time ago. I started streaming because I played StarCraft 2. I wasn't great, but competitively in my at my level. I'm not wasn't a pro gamer, but I played competitively in that. Like I would do stretches and meditate before I played. You know what I mean?
Wow,
Like I was really
wow,
serious.
that's awesome.
Um, yeah, I was like really serious about StarCraft 2. And I was in a little clan and we would do scrims, like little competitions with other clans. And they wanted someone to stream it. And I was like, well, I have a mic. I could do it. And I'm like, I'm like I'm a talker. You know what I mean? I can talk. I've always been a talker. I wanted to be a writer when I was younger. And like, that's my thing. I'm a talker. So I was like, I'll do it and I'll like broadcast. So the only streams I did back then was, and this is again, like a handful of times I ever did this, was to broadcast my clan's scrim matches.
So I'd be like, oh, he's trying to do this, he's trying to do that. Like, StarCraft 2 had a really big pro scene. So they would have the announcers there. He's attacking with the Zerglings. He's doing this, he's doing that. Oh, he's going to go for this move here. I don't know if it's going to work, right? You color commentary kind of deal. So that's what I was doing initially. And I did that, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 times. I maybe gained 30 followers, right? And stopped. Didn't stream again until 2020.
Wow.
A lot of things moved around in my life, as with almost everyone in that particular year, and found myself with some free time. My son had recently asked me to get him a capture card because he wanted to make some YouTube stuff, right? He's a younger kid. He wanted to try to make some YouTube stuff. Totally. Got this capture card. We messed around with it. He made a few things. I helped him like try to figure it out and stuff. And then he kind of stopped wanting to do that, right? So I had this capture card. And one day I was like, you know what? I thought, I didn't even understand how streaming worked. I thought I needed the capture card to stream, period. Like, I thought I needed it for my computer. Like, I was streaming from my computer to a capture card to my monitor or something. Like, this was totally unnecessary, right? Like, you didn't need to do this at all. But I was, and I started streaming just playing Valorant with my friends. So this was in 2020. I probably streamed for a year in 2020, just doing nothing. I had no real ambitions. I would just go live when I played games with my friends, and no one would really be in chat other than, my friends, right? So I did that for like a year. It was just a hobby. And then I kind of started wanting to branch out from always being in a call with my friends and instead start interacting with chat more. So I started trying to, what single player game could I play? And I would start dabbling in other games. Eventually, when I found my way to EverQuest, that's when I think, because then I would actually have some people in chat. Like like when you start to stream EverQuest, it's like you really have some numbers. And I was like, oh wow, this feels good. I'm going to start doing this. And I started streaming EverQuest a lot more, playing multiplayer games less and less, and like competitive games. Like you can't even look at chat playing, Valorant or Counter-Strike or whatever. You just have to focus. So, yeah, started doing other things on stream and trying to be more creative. Eventually doing the Retro Randy thing, and I did another Management Marvin because I love management sim games like 2 Point Hospital or Planet Zoo, the games like that. So I started doing that, playing with the characters, trying to develop some sort of community, and actually started taking streaming seriously, probably 2022 or something like that. And yeah, I've just been going ever since, man. I think I'm a stubborn dude. So like I see opportunity to go one way. I'm like, oh, I could probably get a bigger number if I just did this, but I'm like, I have to do it my specific way, right? Like JRPGs, like that's probably my lowest night of the week because it's just me playing this game. But I don't care, man. Like I'm doing it. You know what I mean? Like I feel that will pay off in the long run. Like I'm just like, like my advice to Eminem, sticking to my guns, playing what I want and letting it play out. D&D was another one that was really difficult. I would play D&D and have no viewers, where I could jump on EverQuest and have 30 or 40. And it was like, but I've just stuck with my guns. And now I feel that I've curated like a cool little pocket of the internet, they get me and I get them and we have fun.
Isn't it a beautiful thing that, like, people come for the game? Like, let's say you stream Parasite Eve or whatever, and I'm interested in Parasite Eve, but as someone kind of gets to know you more, they come less for the game and more for you. I think that's kind of the interesting thing with streaming. And then you jump around to whatever game, and you generally kind of see those same people. And would you say that's the best part of streaming for you right now, is like kind of getting to embrace like the creative aspect, like doing your character that you do and your props and stuff like that, and kind of interacting with the community?
Yeah. It is definitely my creative outlet. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It is 100% my creative outlet. This is where I get to come and be silly and have fun. I don't do like, people come in and complain, where's Retro Randy, or I don't really do them anymore, to be honest. Because similar to how you said, people come for the game. People are coming for the character, man. And I was like, wait, like I'm still funny without the wig. You know what I mean? So I kind of had changed my angle on that a little bit to facilitate continued growth, but but they're waiting in the rafters. The old, I haven't the old tracksuit is sitting somewhere. It's still around. But yeah, I think that I think that just being able to get on somewhere it's my thing, it's my project, because like I work with I work with a lot of different people and do cool stuff like that, but it's never my project. It's never something that's only mine. I'm always working on their stuff and doing their things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's my one special thing. That's just me. I'm the only one that's done. Obviously I've gotten help from all sorts of people, but like it's just me. I've built it. I'm working on it, and it's the aside from goofing off with my kids, it's like the highlight of my life.
Yeah. Well, I love that. I love that. As you mentioned your son was interested in content creation, doing YouTube, having capture card and stuff. Is your son proud that you're a streamer? Like, does he think it's really cool how you've kind of figured all that out? Because that's kind of something that kids kind of aspire to be these days. I would say you don't really see kids that want to be scientists or whatever anymore. They just think streaming is really cool. So.
Yeah, well, it is. You know what I mean? Scientist seems like a lot of work, dude. Whereas ninjas over here just, dropping in on Fortnite and he's rich, like I get it. I get it. But yeah, yes and no, right? There's been good and bad to it. And I don't just have a kid. I have 3 kids. So, they've obviously come to accept that this is a huge thing for me. Like my daughter's a little bit older, and she told me one time, she was like, you have to stream because like you'll go crazy if you don't. Like you have to, you know what I mean? She's like, I don't, like they get that it's for me, you know what I mean? And like, they always like, like there's been nights where it's like I'm about to get dressed up in my character and be crazy, but like, oh, my daughter wants to have a sleepover with her friend. Like, okay, all my stuff's canceled. You know what I mean? Like this is all done. I'll be a good boy. I won't wear the costume. I won't embarrass you. Because I mean, obviously, like, imagine your friend coming over and then their dad has got these huge floodlights on and he's dancing in front of a green screen. It's like crazy. You know what I mean? It's like crazy. But for me, it's very important for my kids to understand that you can do whatever you want, because the opposite end of that, I think, is depression. And that's like a real issue for a lot of people, and was for me. And like, I think it's really cool that they can see, I don't know how this ultimately affects them, right? Nobody knows what leads to what, right? But I think it's really cool that they can see their dad, because I work too. It's not like I work, I do my whole thing, and then at night I come and I'm doing this weird thing that no one's really encouraging me to do this. It's just my thing because I like it and I can do what I want here, and it's for me. And I not a lot of people do that. Not a lot of people are like, well, I'm not gonna go do that. That's stupid, or that's silly, or why would I do that? Or it's like it. I'm just doing it. Again, I'm not this massively successful streamer, but they have seen me grow from, a little baby seed to where I'm at now, and it's just with persistence, and they're going to need to do that for whatever they want to achieve in life. And it's very silly. Like my dad's dancing around in a wig and yelling, it's very silly, but I think they're happy to have a silly dad. I'm a silly dad. That's I've accepted my role. I am a silly dude, but it doesn't change anything about me or how I'm going to treat them, or how, it's just, I'm just being myself. I'm just being myself. And you should too. And I think they do that. They're super unique. Like my kids are hilarious. You know what I mean? They're hilarious and talented, and something's working, I don't know what it is, but something's working.
That's amazing, and I can see where they get it from, because your streams are highly entertaining. The other day I was just like, I told Quatos, there's never a dull moment. Like I'm kind of have something on my second monitor, just up while I'm editing and doing my stuff, and I briefly popped into your stream. You were wearing like a black, like giant bird mask. It was, yeah, I don't know. You were doing
Respect.
something. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. That's
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
awesome, dude. It's kind of looks like
Yeah, it's a
those
great
birds
mask.
in P99, like those aviacs or whatever.
It is an
But
aviac. Yeah, it looks a lot like an aviac, actually. Yeah, this was, I just found it. I just love masks that the
that's
mouth moves. So,
that's
like, as
awesome.
I'm talking, the mouth will, I found it on Amazon. I was like, I'm getting it. It's fun, you know?
That's awesome. That's really awesome. Okay, very cool. Thank you so much. And let's see here. Let me make sure I don't miss anything because there was something. Oh, so this is really interesting to me. What's the hardest part that people don't see? The thing that viewers don't realize takes energy. A lot of people say streaming is easy. You just turn it on and do it, but it's not that easy. I can attest to that. So, what would you say is the hardest part that people don't see, kind
It's
of
it's
behind the
probably the
scenes?
mental fortitude. Yeah, yeah, no, that's a great question. It's probably the mental kind of because it's, I mean, it's very much a confidence thing, right? Like, you're putting yourself on in a little video screen and saying people want to watch me. Like, people of all the places they could be on the internet, they want to come hang out with me is what your hope is, right? Like, that's what's required to succeed. They have to want to watch you, and you have to uh believe that you're someone who they would want to watch, and you're, all these, all the it's like all the, it feels like high school sometimes, all the, you're self-conscious of this. Is my hair straight? Is my nose funny? Whatever it is, do I laugh? Do I make a weird noise when I laugh? When I breathe, am I heezing, making noise into the mic? Like, all these things of, like, your kind of self image is like, you look at the preview and you're right there looking back at yourself. You know what I mean? So it's like, like, you're constantly kind of in this battle of your self-confidence, and then, which then leads to, ultimately, right, like, the more you feel good about it, I think the more people feel good about watching you. So it's like, it can be it can snowball in either direction, right? Like, it can send you down a really bad path where you don't feel good and things aren't going well, so you feel worse and it continues, or in the opposite direction where you catch this, this thing, and you're growing and you don't know why, but more people are showing up and things are going great. And I've gone down both paths many times, back and forth and back and forth. And I think probably the most difficult thing is just kind of harnessing and accepting all that stuff of, like, you be comfortable with it, and you maybe you'll get somewhere with this thing. Like, there's so many things I couldn't even begin to name, all the different things that I've had to either, like, let go or accept, like, okay, yeah, this is, like, some insecurity I have, but other people behind there that aren't on camera have insecurities too, right? And, like, if I'm just open with mine and, like, talk about it, like, don't lie, like, don't lie on stream, you know what I mean? Like, oh, like, something happens and it could be like, you know, I'm eating, like, food late at night. You know what I mean? I shouldn't be. I need a diet. Whatever it is, right? Like, whatever things. It's
Yeah.
like, just being honest with, like, this is really my situation. This is really who I am, and trying to project that in a way that you still feel okay to stream again the next day, but also you're not. It's just being yourself, I guess, is, I guess, ultimately the answer. Just learning to be yourself and accept yourself and put yourself out there. And continually kind of motivate yourself to keep going, because people won't always do it. Some people have these lovely chats that will inspire them, and, me too, right? Like, I have days where my chat's like, man, they're gassing me up and I feel great, and there's other days that I'm not. Or maybe, I see something, I get caught in the loop of comparing myself to someone or something, and, it's that constant mental struggle of just trying to keep it steady and keep moving. That, I think that's what a lot of people don't realize, that, like, man, you go through some real ups and downs of putting yourself out there like that.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Um, and then I wanted to ask you too. So, like, as a streamer, what advice would you give to someone who maybe they just want to start out? Maybe it's a new year. Maybe for their New Year's resolution, like, what, I'm going to start a Twitch stream today, or channel, whatever, or Kick or YouTube, whatever it is, and I want to take a stab at content creation, or I want to, this game's getting ready to come out that I'm really excited about, Monsters and Memories. I'm gonna be a streamer. I'm gonna do it. what advice would you give to someone that wants to start out but might not know what's like an important thing? Audio,
Ooh.
video. What would you say there?
Yeah. Get your audio right. App Number one thing. Get your audio right. Don't worry about anything else, especially when you're just starting. Just make sure you can listen to it. Listen to your own streams so you can hear it and see it. Take the time to actually watch yourself afterwards. Sit down for an hour and watch an hour of the stream. Aside from that, which are really like more kind of technical kind of little add-ons that you can do to help improve. Aside from that, be creative. You know what I mean? Be unique. Try to look at what other people are doing and think, how could you improve that from a viewer, standpoint? What would make that more fun? Or, streaming's really interesting because there are only pockets of really exciting stuff, right? Like if you like a YouTube video, like if it's a 20-minute video, it's probably 20 minutes of like good stuff. You know what I mean? Like this whole video will be EQ and Eminem
Mm-hmm.
like who knows what it is from 1 minute to the next,
Mm-hmm.
And so it's you're not gonna be fantastic all the time, right? Like if you stream for 5 hours, not everything you say is gonna make people crack up. Not every gameplay move is gonna be revolutionary. You're not gonna win every match. You're not gonna, so it's really the long game of what type of space am I mentally and what am I doing. Having goals are great, but don't let your goals of like gaming goals, like I'm going to beat this, I'm going to do that, get in the way of just making friends, Like I can't make friends tonight. I have to play, Duke Nukem 2 or whatever, because I'm a Duke Nukem 2, whatever it is. Like,
Yeah.
don't let that get in the way of your, of making friends, because that's what it is. You're making friends, at least in the streaming world, you're making friends. So do that first. And, have fun, man. Have fun with it.
I love it. I love it. Man, thank you so much. I think we've got it. I think that's pretty much everything that I had, unless you wanted to add anything. This one here is just an optional, it's just kind of for fun. Do you have anything that your community might not know about you? Something interesting, something fun? If you feel like sharing. Absolutely no worries if not.
Again, I'm a very open book. Like they know a lot more than they should. They know more than they should. Man,
I'm curious personally.
Oh, that's hard. I've already given everything.
Okay.
I've already given everything away, man. I don't know.
This was
I've given
amazing.
everything away already. Yeah.
Where
I'm sorry.
does-
I got nothing.
Where does the name Ultrapissed come from? It's really awesome. The Discord server tag is really awesome. And actually, too, just a fun fact, because my main focus is to be mostly M&M related. Do you know I wasn't sure if you saw it, because this will be out later. I'm planning to release these like weekly. So there's, I've talked to a couple other people, but do you know that the PvP legend of Monsters and Memories, IGT, or Let's Go Champ, is in your Discord server? He's rocking the tag. Shout out to IGT. He's a great guy. I got a chance to chat with him. And
I absolutely know IGT. Yeah, I love IGT. He's so funny. IGT always comes in and he's like, "Hey, you're hot, but also nice," or like he just says like the weirdest. He has the weirdest like entrances. He's always got these wacky entrances, man. But
interesting.
yeah, no, he's a cool dude. I enjoyed watching his like he approaches Twitch chat in a very unique way. You got to catch him coming into someone's channel. He's a very unique guy.
I would love to catch him.
Breath of fresh air. Yeah, breath of fresh air with his chat messages always. And yeah, love IGT. The name Ultrapissed, and I guess really this is an answer to your question. This is something a lot of people probably won't know. It actually is a StarCraft 2 thing.
Oh.
The Ultralisk in StarCraft 2 was my favorite unit. Big old thing with meat hooks and, the Ultralisk.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my name in StarCraft became Ultrapissed because I played Zerg and I liked Ultralisks, and I would maybe get a little upset sometimes. You know what I mean? That wasn't really the reason, but it was a funny little pun that I came up with, and I was like, oh, this is cool. I didn't really have a good gamer tag at the time. I don't know what my gamer tag was prior to Ultrapissed. This was 15 years ago. And yeah, it's just stuck. Ultra is what most people call me, but then also, I've got people that come in and are like, hi, piss boy. And I'm like, it doesn't bother me at this point.
That's awesome.
Just like whatever you want, whatever you want to call it, it's fine,
That's
But yeah, I
awesome.
usually go by Ultra. And yeah, it's a StarCraft 2 thing. It's just a play on, people think I'm either really drunk, like Australians think it's because I'm really drunk, and Americans think it's because I'm really mad. So I always get people, why are you angry? Are you drunk? Like all the time. That's kind of like the cliche question. But yeah, it's just a StarCraft 2 thing. It's just because I
Awesome.
like the Ultralisk.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. Well, man, that we pretty much came to the end of it. That was great. And anything you'd like to plug at the end? Where can people find you? I'm gonna link all your stuff, of course.
Yeah. I mean, come find me on Twitch. I stream everywhere, right? I'm on YouTube and all the platforms, really, all the streaming platforms. I'm there. But Twitch is really where my community is, and that's where you're gonna probably have the best time viewing me. And yeah, I mean, shout out the Monsters and Memories team. You guys are changing the lives of so many of us gamers by we've been waiting so long for this. And we, had it, flash in front of our face and taken away with this release or that release and, all this stuff. And now it's just, they're finally doing it. And it's like this ragtag bunch of heroes. Like they are like in a JRPG in a way, right? Like they're like a group of teenagers saving the world from some massive god, right? Like the definition of a JRPG. They're just dudes that like classic EverQuest or like classic MMOs, and they're making, they're doing it for all of us. So all I would want to add is shout out those guys for having this vision and the resolve to stick through it and bring it to where it is now. Because I'm sure at so many millions of intersections they could have fallen off and not become a thing. So shout out to them, man, and to you for inviting me. Thank you so much.
Oh, dude, thank you so much. No, yeah, I'm with you. It's great. It's great that they did it because we're in this sea of like these indie MMOs and stuff. And Pantheon was gaining a lot of traction, for example, but they just stuck to it from when they were like little capsules to like look at what it is now.
Yep.
But thank you. No, this was great, man. I think we got it. Yeah, I think we got it.
Yeah, I had such a good time, dude. Thank you.
This was
I
great.
really had a blast. It's so fun talking about this stuff.
Wow, man, we went almost 3 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
No, dude.
Yeah, I know. Oh God, no. Did I just take the aggro? I did. Oh God. I made a mistake. I made a mistake. That's me. Oh. Boy.
But I'm gonna get revenge!
Oh, why'd you fuck? What? No. Oh my God. I wasn't supposed to break it?
No.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I thought you picked it up. How the hell do you move it? Oh God.
You don't